Yeah, I'm trying to ping in like the usual people and grab my little stuff or whatever, bottle of water, and stones to knock. Let's see what else. Do I need the Mishkan today or the template book? No, not today. That's just because we got some diagrams too now with these books here. The Mishkan and the Beit Hamikdash. So when we do start getting into like the temple, or I mean, we could kind of use the temple now, I guess, to explain certain things or whatnot. Now here, get some fresh air too. But yeah, so hold on, let me look at my profile. See what's this replay? Yeah. Also, if you guys want, after today's reading, um, I did go into this chapter with Zion Lex and a few like other people. We could like watch that. It's on the replay on my channel, all at the bottom on here, and see certain things how he looked at it, or whatever. Yeah, give me like one more. You want to play one more song or something like that, so?
Yeah, I was looking for some.
But yeah, where's everybody at? It's crazy. It's like they're not gonna get. If they don't hear it from the beginning, they're not gonna understand like what we're about to be putting down.
Should I put temple signs or something like that in the title? Be more intriguing and shit.
I mean, I put it in. I put it when I shared the room. That's what I said. I said let's explore, let's read and explore the book of Ezekiel, and I put Ezekiel in Hebrew, so they could be like, what is that? And I put if you think you can instead of comprehend, I put comprehend the temple science and mathematics in one sit and try in Dr. Seuss book. Maybe they'll get angry. But okay, so let me pull up actually a diagram of the temple, like a simple one, so we could kind of like refer to it as we're like going through it, I guess. All right, hold on, let me see here. Okay, yeah, this one's pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna share this link at the top. Hey, Shalom, scattered. All right, so I'm gonna share this link at the top for like a temple diagram, so like we kind of go through, and it's gonna be useful throughout this whole book. And then we're gonna go into the new temple design eventually, of course. All right, hold on. Yeah, so I'm gonna send it to your back chat so you can put it on the top.
All right. Hey, you got a song
So,
request? You got a song request?
uh, uh, can't really think of one right now, but I sent you the wrong link, so give me one second. Let me see. Share, copy link. There we go.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
that's the right
yeah, I
one.
sent you the wrong link at first. Yeah. So yeah, brother Saul is gonna put a link at the top for like a simple temple diagram, King Shlomo's temple, like kind of understand like the concept of like ascending and descending and how there's like zero spookism in it, but it's like dealing with like the mind. Right? So, but yeah, you brought out earlier like the Merkabah, and then like there's like it's gonna talk about like wings and stuff in here, like multiple faces of like the Malach, and things like that. And like, there's actually like no spookism in this stuff. All these things, it means different things. Well, yeah, Asia, Hazel, Isaac, Scattered. If you want to come up, this one is like it's like a hands-on thing. We could all go around and expound upon like what we see in it. Shalom, sis.
Shalom. I've never read well, I read parts of the book of Ezekiel actually. That's where he saw the Lord coming down. Well, can I give away spoilers? No.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can.
Yeah, so he saw the Lord coming down, and I think it was in Ezekiel. The Lord was coming down, and he was on this throne, and his feet were like a the face kept changing from an eagle to a person to something else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And like, I'm actually gonna go into that today as well, like a little snippet from it to like kind of decipher the brightness from like the Malach that he was seeing to like the brightness of the countenance of the Most High was like different, and like he couldn't behold it. You know what I mean? Like it was like too bright for him or whatnot. So
I think it was a shapeshifter. No? Yeah, maybe because it was so bright he didn't know how to describe it.
yeah, so all right, so I'm gonna flip to Ezekiel 1 real quick. Let's see here. Give me a second. I'm kind of careful with my stance tonight. A few more pages. All right, so yeah, that's the one. All right, so yeah, I mean, we might as well be able to start. But yeah, in the side portion here in Ezekiel 1, like a little side note, Ezekiel's vision of the Merkavah or the chariot or whatnot. So we know that like the camps and stuff, they think it's like a spaceship or something like that's gonna pick them up and take them to the kingdom. But like, okay, if you click this link at the top, like a little brief introduction to like the temple. All right, so if you click the link at the top of the screen, you'll see a diagram of the Solomon's temple. So the altar sacrifice, you got Joachim and Boaz. You got the porch. You got the holy place with the inward lights, the menorah. You have the incense altar. Then you have the holy of holies, and you have like the priestly cells at the top, the turban, and then like the arms or whatnot. So the temple is not just like a place like how like for example like a Hindu will build a temple and like they just do stuff in there and like, it doesn't really like mean anything. Okay, our temple was like a place of learning. So when somebody would okay, for example, let's see like the Kohen Gadol, like how he would come into the temple. So the altar of sacrifice is like this is like dealing with like before the entrance of the temple. It's the entrance of the temple, and before you could come in, there would be like a sacrifice. Like, what does the sacrifice actually mean? It's separating the bad portion from the good portion. The bad portion is burned away. The good portion, it's burned, and the smoke rises to the nostrils of Elohim, and he breathes it in and says it is a pleasant, good aroma. Right. So the good portion. So not only does the high priest eat of the good portion, but symbolizing that like he's like always loved you, whatever. Right. He just didn't want like the other stuff we were adding to everything. So the smoke rises to the nostrils of Elohim, the same way that he breathed in the breath of life into Ha'adam to make him a living nafesh, or a soul. So he breathes back in the breath of life that he breathed into Adam. And the first cut on the animal is the neck or the throat. And if you picture during the what they call the flood, imagine if you were in a literal flood and it's overtaking you, and it's above your head, and you can no longer hold in your breath. And the breath goes into the chemical makeup of the water. The water keeps what it needs. The rest rises to the Hashemayim, and it falls down like rain to create new things. So in Hosea 6:1, it says, "Come and let us return to Yah, for he has torn. He shall heal us. He will bind us up. He will revive us from the 2 days. And on the third day, we will live before him." Now, verse 6 says, right? What is it? "For I desire loving kindness and not sacrifices, and knowledge of Elohim more than burnt offering." So we don't need the sacrifice to comprehend this. The sacrifice is going to be performed by the ones that do comprehend this, in like their daily lives and whatever. So the altar is really signifying you leaving behind the so-called Egyptian type customs, right? So let's say like when Moses was leaving Egypt after what he did, and he was like running away or whatever. You could like kind of picture him. It doesn't say it, but you kind of picture him like, "Hey man, I got to get rid of this Egyptian jewelry and stuff. Just throw these stuff down," and then he comes up to this fire. It's the Most High. So the temple is built in 3 stages, like the lower portion, like the bronze, copper. You got like the silver portion. Then you have like the Holy of Holies built in gold, symbolizing refinement. So when you like burn gold, it becomes more refined and more pure. It doesn't become destroyed, right? So the sacrifice is really you leaving behind. Let's say we're in a Misraim captivity type thing, right? We leave behind like the customs and things that we do of their ways. You leave that at the altar, and then you enter in like clean. So when you enter inside, it's like I said, it's in 3 stages. So you have like the inward lights, and those are like to like shine like outwardly. So like you have like the word, you have the menorahs, the lights. So you have the word like Isha, but the first like in your head pronounce it as Aisha. The first 2 letters make the word fire, but the word Aisha or Isha itself means like the side or like the rib that was inside of man. So half of the inward lights, like the rib or the side, helps you to stand up straight. It helps you to look within yourself correctly. So hence the word Isha or Aisha. Right. So the whole entire temple is a place of learning. Okay. So all right. So we'll start here. Ezekiel 1:1. It happened in the 13th year, in the 4th month, on the 5th of the month, and I was among the exile by the river Kabar. The Hashemayim opened, and I saw visions of Elohim. On the 5th of the month, which was in the 5th year of the exile of King Jehoiakim, the word of Yah came to Ezekiel, son of Bazit, the Kohen, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Kibar, and the hand of Yah came upon him there. And I saw, and behold, there was a stormy wind coming from the north, a great cloud with the flashing fire and brilliance surrounding it. So, okay, hold on, let me make a little note right here, real quick. So we kind of, like I said, if y'all want to come up, it's gonna be like a hands-on type thing, like a group effort. So, verse 1 is like Vehi Bishloshim Shena Baravi Vekamisha Lachodesh Vaeni Betok Hagola Al Nehar Kevar Niftetu Hashemayim Vayera Marot Elohim. So like when it says like he saw like Vayera, there's like a whole Torah portion devoted to like Vayera, like to see or to look at, to inspect, to perceive or consider. So he's not just like seeing something. He's like really trying to like see like what it like observe it, to watch it, to look upon it, to give attention to discern what it is, to distinguish what it is. Um, and at the same time, on the other side, whatever is making itself appear to him or to present itself is to be. It wants it to be seen. It wants it to be visible. It's to cause him to look intently at. He wants it to be looking at each other. right? So that's like the word, like H7200 or whatnot. Okay, if you use the Strong's. Okay, so and behold, there was like a stormy wind, right? Like, what is the word for wind, right? Like, what does it mean? Anybody know? Like, let's all let's all like,
Ruach,
God. What does the wind also mean? What does that word also mean?
spirit.
God.
Breath.
Yes. So it says like a vayere. So he's like, I looked, vehine, behold. But it's not just look, right? It's all those words that we just used. And behold, ruach sierra, ba'amin hatzafon. Like, and I looked and like it's like inspecting it. Behold, there's a wind or like a new mind, like a storm coming from the north cloud, a great, right? Like it's like a great. Watch this. And a great cloud with flashing fire and brilliance surrounding it, and from its midst, like the color of chasm. And what it's really saying is, it's like gadol. It's a gadol vaish, a great fire, mitlachat, 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 venoga, lo saviv umitocha, like the enfolding, like itself, a brightness. So this is the word brightness right here. It has like a particular brightness to it, right? And then it says the color of like amber, like it's like kein hachazman mitoch ha'aish, the color of like amber coming out of the midst of the fire. Like, so what could this actually be? Everybody want, let's build, let's go around, let's build. Like not really like a right or wrong answer, just like let's build like off of what we like see, what we see. Kika, you want to go ahead? I know you got something for this.
No, I'm just still looking at it. I'm amazed at bringing out that the fire, the amber color. When you think about that amber, it says it's like a glowing metal. You know, when you burn something and it gets that that really red, that deep red color. So that's coming out of the midst of the fire. Um, so what we see a lot of different things. It says like it was like the color because he has a prefix on it, like the color. You know, he's likening it to that fire. So I believe what he's doing, he's being descriptive about the things in which he understands, right? And it's the only things that he can possibly be thinking about. So he must have had some type of experience with hot metal. You know, because he said it's like this amber color that's out of the midst of the fire. So this is bringing something out of fire. That's what I see, at least so far.
Yes. Anybody else want to add something to it? Doctor Shalom, Hazel. So
Mm-mm. Listen.
all right, so we'll continue. So yes, like exactly the way you explained it, Akika, like this is something to like behold or like to see. Like so when he was looking upon it from his perspective, he's like, man, what is this? And then from the perspective of who's revealing it, he wants it to be revealed to him. He wants him to be like, hey, what is this? Let me pay attention to it. Right. So it says, and I saw and behold, there was a stormy ruach coming from the north, a great cloud with a flashing fire and a brilliance surrounding it. Let me find the word for the brilliance or like the brightness for it. This word is H5051. Noga. Noga. a bright light, a clear shining, right? So he wants him to see this thing. Now, when we get to Ezekiel, I believe it's like 8, and it's the brightness of the Most High. It's going to use a different word. It's called Zohar. Zohar. It's a more intense brightness. Okay, so it says, and in the midst there was the likeness of 4 chayot, and like the chayot is it this is the word here chayot. Let's go into. I'm working 2 things so we can have all the Strong's numbers and stuff in it. So it's H2416, and it's like it could either mean a green of vegetation, flowing fresh of water, lively active of man, reviving of the springtime, life, sustenance, maintenance. It could be an animal, life, appetite, revival, renewal. It could be all these things. All right, so let's see what so this was their appearance. So like as he's paying attention to it and as what is presented to him wants him to pay attention to it, it says, and in its midst was the likeness of 4 chayot. This was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Each one had 4 faces. So when we think of like faces, we all have like a physical face, but what else could like a face mean? Like like having multiple faces.
Characteristic or attributes, or
Facial expression.
like they
Like
say, your tooth.
sometimes you look angry and sometimes you look happy. Like you can look sad and angry at. So those are like facial expressions or different faces, I guess.
Right. Different expressions. All these things, everything that you guys said. Akika, you want to go in on like the expressions or like the faces?
No, she's absolutely correct. Like if you think about it, when someone's angry, they have a different expression. When you're sad, you have a different expression. When you're happy, you have a different expression. Excited, troubled, so there's all these different faces. Because in the Hebrew, they don't ever call it one face. They always call it a panim, and it's always plural, right? It's in its plurality. So, and that expresses like when they say, to behold the face of the Most High, right? These different expressions that he may have. So we all have like literally one face, but you can have multiple expressions. You have multiple faces, right?
Yes, exactly. So like as like a mother or a father, they have a way, an expression of who they are when they're dealing with their husband, wife, or their children. And then like as a son or a daughter, the expression of how we deal with the mother and father, the same way that the chayot, which this is really talking about an angel here, about malach, it has many faces. So if you ever hear the expression, oh, you're not the same with me as you are with them, but you're like, no, I am the same person, but I deal with people the way I'm supposed to deal with them, right? So the malach, when the Most High is sending the malach to afflict, he has the face that he's going to afflict. That's it. He expressed that. When the malach is coming to reveal something, he's coming to reveal. The malach has a face that deals with us. He also has a face that deals with the Most High, and he has a face that deals with us when we're rebellious, and a face that he deals with us when we're walking in the ways of the Most High. Uh, okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. So this was their appearance. They had the likeness of man. Each one had 4 faces, and each one of them had 4 wings. So when we think of wings, what are wings for?
To fly.
Yep, yep. Keep going, y'all. Keep going. What are wings for?
Mm,
Protection.
yeah, I was gonna say covering.
Yeah, covering protection.
Right. So to fly, to ascend and descend, right? And to have a covering or a protection over them, right? So there's two sets of wings there. So one is like a covering or protection, and the other one is like ascension, descension. So if you click on the diagram again in First Kings chapter 10, it talks about the Queen of Sheba when she saw the seating of his attendants, his cupbearers, all these things, right, inside of the temple, and the people were learning from him, and the way that he would ascend into the temple of his God. So Moshe, he would go up to a mountain, or he'd go into the Holy of Holies, Aaron, and then they would come out and tell the people what to do. And the Most High would make it clear to them, hey, look at this, a pillar of cloud. Look at this. So they're like, hey, what is this? What's going on? And after a while, they all consecutive, they all of them knew at one time, hey, this is the when the Most High is talking to Moshe. We're going to see things like this, so that we know that he's talking to him, and then he will descend back down and come and tell us. And he has a face where he deals with the Most High, and he has a face when he deals with us when we're following and when we're rebelling. Right. So okay, let's continue. So the temple diagram here, it's to the average like man, it's built like just a regular building, but what it's teaching you is symbolizing ascension of the ruach. So in Ezekiel 43, when we get there, it's going to talk about he fell upon his face and the ruach lifted him up because he's going through that process that we were talking about earlier, and the ruach lifted him up and took him inside, and there was a man there with him, and the Most High was speaking to him and said, Son of man, this is the place of my throne, and this is the place of the soles of my feet, where I shall dwell amongst the children of Israel forever. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue. This was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Each one had four faces, and each one had four wings. Their legs were a straight leg, and the sole of their foot was like the sole of a rounded foot, and they glittered with the color of burnished copper. What could this mean? Let's deal with let's go into the language with like the rounded foot. So it's like verag lehem regel, and their feet yeshera decha were like straight. Their feet were straight. What does it mean that like your feet or your legs to be straight?
Firm.
No kneecap.
Keep going, Doctor Hazel.
Um, like
No blemish.
long.
Rigid.
Yep, all these things. So it says, and their legs were a straight leg. So when we think of standing up straight, now that we're studying the Torah, what does this mean?
Righteousness. Because it looks like it has the word Yashar in it.
Yep. What else, Doctor Hazel? So Akika, you mentioned earlier, like no knees. So they will not. So they will do whatever the Most High tells them to do, and they will stand up straight on what He tells them to do at all times. Okay, and then it says, and their feet, chechaf regel igel venot sesi. It was like the sole of the foot of a calf's foot. So what do we think of when we think of like a calf's foot? Like it's like flat on the bottom. What could that mean?
It's like a hoof, right?
Yep.
And when you think about a calf, right, and in connection to this is what the agel, yeah, he has a agel. That's like a I think a baby calf.
Yep. So these these chayot, they will do whatever the Most High tells them to do. They will stand up straight, stand up firm, and when we the uncleans and unclean and clean animals have what kind of hoof that we can eat and learn from them.
Some have like a slit in their hoof, in the front of the hoof. Is that a difference?
Yep. And the calf we're allowed to like eat from, right? Okay, so it says, and the feet they glittered with the color of burnished copper. So at the lower portion of the temple, that's like you could see like Yachin and Boaz and if you click the link at the top, you'll see the diagram, right? You see the altar, round altar, right? That's like the feet firmly planted, and then Yachin and Boaz standing up straight and tall, and it reminds you not to go to the left and not to go to the right and to stay on that straight path leading to the Holy of Holies where the Torah is. Okay, so let's keep going. Let's keep going. So there were human hands and their wings on their four sides. Their faces and their wings were alike on the four of them. Their wings were joined one to another. They did not turn as they went. Each in the direction of its faces they would go. So these faces, these expressions, however the Most High will want them to deal with different places, different people, they would go and they would stand firm on what He told them to do. As for the likeness of their faces, there was a human face and a lion's face to the right for the four of them, and an ox face to the left of the four of them, an eagle's face, the four of them. What could these animals' faces here? Let's do with the human face. What is the human face? What could that be in relevance to like that?
Well, we know that in this, well, I don't want to jump ahead, but each one of those faces are representing the dominion. They're actually the kings of their dominion. So a human's face is one who's over, humanity, right? Man is the head over all humanity and all things, and so is the lion. He's the, is distinguished as being the king of his domain, right? And then the eagle, he's the king of the birds. And then the oxen, of course, is the domesticated. So I think in every last one of those descriptions there, it, one is dealing with, we got four of them. So one is that which is in the heavens and the skies. And the other ones are, one is the wild and the other one is domesticated. And then, of course, is humanity.
Yep, these are the four
He could be wild or he could be domesticated. He's over.
expressions.
He's over all.
Yeah, keep going, keep going, Ashikal. That's good, bro. Keep bringing it up.
Well, that's all that's what I'm saying is like, there's four in particular bodies, right? It says creatures, right? And they all have these. All four of them have these faces. They all four have these same identical faces. When we think about the oxen, in terms of we're thinking about somebody who is domesticated, but you got to look at why they're there. They're there for service. They're there to do work. And then of course, the predator aspect of the bird and the that's interesting. You got two domesticated. um, creations, and you also have two wild ones, which is interesting. You know, one is a burden bearer, which is the oxen. The other one is a just dominating, is a sheer predator on in the earth, and the other one is in the skies. That's what I see.
Yup. And these are the four expressions on how the Most High will send them. Oh, Devania's here. Come on, Devania. The four expressions on how the Most High will send them to deal with the people according to how the Most High needed them to deal with them, according to who they were and behaving. So it says, their wings extended upward over them. For each face, two wings were joined together, and two wings were covering their bodies. Each in the direction of its faces they would go, toward wherever the toward wherever there was the ruach to go, so they would go. They did not turn as they went. So they go and deal exactly how the Most High wants them to deal, and they stand with the straight leg, and they do not bend or turn away from what the Most High wants them to do. As for the likeness of the Chayos, their
Pause.
appearance, shalom, shalom. Ezekiel 1 verse, and these numbers in the stones is very small. 12.
Yes, I'm sorry for pausing you. You just read a script, and I know I just came in, but I just want to get the picture in our mind. What the last verse you just read, you talk about the wheels and it went wherever they went. Can you read that verse again, please?
Yes, yes. So it says, verse, I'm going to start 11. As for their faces, their wings extended upward over them. For each face, two wings were joined together, and two wings were covering their bodies. In each direction of its faces would they go, toward wherever there was the ruach they to go. Hold on. For wherever there was the ruach to go, they would go. They did not turn as they went.
Okay, so if we can just pause there before you go on, if you don't mind. If you go back to Numbers, remember what is it? Numbers 15. What is it when the numbering? Remember the 20 years old when it talk about the numbering of the camp, and the camp you had Judah positioned on the east, and Reuben down at the south, and Ephraim at the west. And think when you read Exodus and you read the whole camp alignment, and it said the spirit of Yah was upon them as we carried the tabernacle through the wilderness. The same exact phrase you just read there, it said we moved in unison, we moved as one, and where each one where it went the others. So that same idea. And I'm sorry, I'm just coming in and miss the verses with the faces of the cherubims, and they have the four faces. The four faces are the same faces when you read in Numbers. It talks about the lining up of the camp. This is the warrior camp surrounding Yah. So think of the warriors camp surrounding Yah, like the cherubims underneath Yah's domain, because you have the three heavens, Yah's domain, where the cherubims and the seraphims are, and then where we are. So that's surrounding of the cherubim. And when you go and read about our military and how we move, and even in the prophecies, it tells you that we will be moving at one in unison. And even if somebody their sword were to even touch or touch one of the other Israelites and all that, it would not even hurt them. It's like and it tells you we would all be moving in what the army, the military army of Yah. We will be moving. You guys will be moving as one. So it's like no one, it even tells you, it describes it. It said you guys are gonna be militarized, where it's like, yo, everybody is gonna know. Like no man, the sergeant don't have to say, okay, turn to the left, south, left. he don't have to show that everybody's gonna have in their mind moving in a flow. It's like you see the birds when they're flying in a flock in the air and they doing all in unison and creating the patterns in the air and all that. How it's like, yo, they all know how to fly and join this unit. It's that same idea of rhythmic movement where it's talking about these cherubims. It's like they're moving in unison where the right is not, they're not making a right turn or left turn. No, everybody back to left to right, to everybody know the movement. So it's like a like the baby carriage. You put a little baby in the little carousel, that little baby seat that have the wheels on it at the bottom, and it can go in any direction at all time because it's in any rotationary direction at all time. It's like, yeah, it doesn't have to stop, make a right turn, then make a right turn, then make no. The whole mechanism moves in unison. So I'm sorry if I took a long time to. I just want to get that
Oh
piece.
no, that's good. That's good. That's good. I'm glad you're here. Shalom, Sister Sage. You want to come up? So we also know the Most High Elohim. He says that his throne chair, he sits in between the two cherubim. And yeah, so like now it says, where we at? As for the likeness of the Chayos, their appearance was like a fiery coal, burning like the appearance of torches. Spread about among the Chayos, there was a brilliance to the fire, and from the fire it went forth lighting. Now we know the throne chair or the Ark of the Covenant is constructed in the same way, where it has the Torah, the tablets of testimony inside, the throne chair, the Most High between the two cherubim, and it's placed in the Holy of Holies. And the Torah is the light. It says, as for the likeness of the Chayos, their appearance was like fiery coals burning, like the appearance of torches. It spread about among the Chayos. There was a brilliance to the fire, and from the fire went forth lightning. The Chayos ran to and fro like the appearance of a flash. I saw the Chayos, and behold, one Ophan was on the surface near each of the Chayos by its faces. The appearance of the Ophanim and their nature were like the color of Tarshish. You want, Sister Divine, you want to go into like the color of the Tarshish?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking, but I'm sorry. Yeah, which verse are you in? I was listening to you and I following along.
Yeah, 16. It says, the appearance of the Ophanim and their nature were like the color of Tarshish.
Oh, that's that color they call that beryl, that beryl, like that greenish color. It's a color, but at the same time, let's keep in mind all these stones and everything, they come back to one name. So uh Tarshish, when you go into Tarshish, Tarshish happens to be the name of one of Japheth's seed. So these are little clues in there that it's talking about. I heard a bell. That means what Swift is in the house. Is it?
Oh, no, I
But
just did it because I'm agreeing with you.
oh, that was you. Oh, okay. Okay. Khan. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it says, with the same likeness for the four of them, and their appearance and their works were as if there would be a wheel within a wheel. And when we go to this in the language here, I'm getting there. Mari haofanim uma asechem kein tarshish udemut echad le'arvatan umarihem uma ashihem kaesher yeh haofen betoch haofen. Like now, this wheel here is like the chariot wheel, but it's also the same word like Ophan is like the wheels of the 10 bases beneath the layers in Solomon's temple. All right, so all right, let's keep that in mind. Let's keep it. So when they went, they would go toward their four sides. They did not turn as they went. They had backs, and they were tall, and they were fearsome. Their backs were full of eyes surrounding the four of them. What could these eyes mean?
Well, you know what? When I think about, honestly, when I think about how those that describing, what it reminds me of is the drones and the cameras. They have what they call the universal cameras now. That these cameras they can see in 360 degrees. So again, if Yah gave us that knowledge, you think Yah can't see 360 degrees, the creator of everything in heaven and earth, that gave us this knowledge? uh yeah, a wheel within a wheel. It's the circular motion of a motion within a motion within a motion within a motion, and there's a lot of layers to that. I don't want to touch on those layers, but it has all different meanings to it. So I'm very interested in hearing where you're going with this. But definitely the wheel within the wheel, the opim within the opim within the opim has definite meanings to it. So continue, brother.
Yes, so it says they had backs and they were tall and they were fearsome. Their backs were full of eyes surrounding the four of them. When the Chayos would go, the Ophanim would go next to them. And when the Chayos were lifted from upon the surface, the Ophanim were lifted. So toward wherever there was the Ruach to go, they would go. For there was the Ruach to go. The Ophanim were lifted facing them, for the Ruach in the Kayah was also in the Ophanim. So, like the same mind to do what the Most High says. When the Chayos would go, the Ophanim would go. And when they halted, they halted. And when they were lifted from upon the surface, the Ophanim were lifted facing them. For the Ruach in the Shayah was also in the Ophanim. There was a likeness of an expanse above the heads of the Chayah in the color of an awesome ice spread out over their heads from above. And beneath the expanse, their wings were even one with the other. For each of them, two wings covered them, and for each of them, two covered them, and their bodies. I heard the sound of their wings, like the sound of great waters. Okay, so we talked about how the temple to the average man is like just a building, but it's actually like the way it's built is representing ascension, going up higher, becoming closer, drawing closer to the Most High, and how Moshe and Aaron and the prophets and they would like ascend to a higher place in their mind of comprehension of the Torah, and then they would go down to administer it to the people. In Ezekiel 44, around verse 15, it talks about how they are to change their garments when they administer to the people, so that they would like understand them and not to uh, confuse them or like bestow their garments upon them, right? Just bring the information.
Yeah,
So it
well,
says,
okay.
oh yeah, so like real quick, so said I heard the sound of their wings like the sound of great waters. So the wings, one set of the wings could symbolize like covering, and another set of the wings could symbolize like ascending and descending from the Most High's information and descending back down to the people to let us know what He's saying. So it's like the sound of their wings, like the sound of great waters, or like the Torah, the instructions, like the sound of Shaddai as they moved, the sound of a commotion, like the sound of a camp, like how Sister Devani just said. When they would halt, they would release their wings. There was a voice from above the expanse that was above their heads when they would halt. They would release their wings. Above the expanse that was over their heads was the appearance of sapphire stone and the likeness of a throne. And upon the likeness of the throne, there was the likeness like the appearance of a man upon it from above. And I saw the color of chasma, like the appearance of fire inside it all around. So now let's go to this word here. So we saw the countenance or the brightness of the Chayot. But now let's go to the brightness of this here. So it's like, okay, let me go back here because I'm gonna pull up the Strong's number as well for the recordings. So it's like verse. Yeah, these verses are a little different here too. So it's like it came the voice above from the firmament that was over above their heads when they stood and had let down their wings,
You
and
talking about
above
the
the firmament.
naga, the bright, the naga?
Yeah, like the brightness of the chayot is like different than the brightness of like what the Most High. So it says
Right.
over there was their heads as the appearance of stone. A sapphire stone was the likeness of a throne. Was over upon the likeness of the throne was the appearance of a man. Was above, and I saw the color of amber as the appearance of fire within, round about it from the appearance even of his loins and even upward, and the appearance of his loins even downward. And I saw it was the appearance of fire. And then, like how you said, venoga, roundabout. So this word here, venoga, H5051, it's a bright, clear shining. So he Ezekiel is beholding it. Like to look doesn't mean just to look. It means to like he was inquiring, like, what is this? But also on the other side, what is revealing it to him? It's revealing it to him in a clear, bright, light way for him to behold it. So it's like, okay, so it says, like the appearance of fire inside it, all around, from the appearance of his loins and upward, and the appearance of his loins and downward, I saw something like the appearance of fire, and a brilliance surrounded it, like the appearance of a bow that would be in the clouds on a rainy day. So
So
was the appearance of the brilliance around.
yeah, and I wanted to bring that back. If we go back to Genesis, remember it talks about the Keshet in the Anan, that bow in the clouds. The Anan is the dark clouds. So that's that same thing that's going, where it's this describing. Yeah, I said, when he put the rainbow in the sky and he's in the he's in the clouds. He's the Keshet. He's that bow in the clouds. He draw his bow. So it's that same flavor of the words going on here, that same essence of understanding that's going on there. I just wanted to highlight that.
Yes, exactly. And it says, like the appearance of a bow that would be in the clouds on a rainy day, so was the appearance of a brilliance all around. That was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of Yah. So we know in Ezekiel 34, it talks about how the Most High will gather us from all the places that we have been scattered, like a shepherd would gather his flock on the day that they are lost on a dark and cloudy day. So this is like the light coming to help them get out of their situation and see what it is, right? It says, when I saw, I fell upon my face and I heard a voice speaking to me. Then he said to me, Ban Adam, son of man, stand on your feet and I will speak to you. A ruach entered into me as he spoke to me, and it stood me on my feet, and I heard that which was being spoken to me. So not only is he hearing or understanding, he's gonna stand on it, like how the chayot has the straight leg, and will stand on it, and he will not turn away. And wherever the ruach tells him to go, he will go, and he will do as the ruach tells him to do. He said to me, Son of man, I send you to the children of Israel, to the rebellious nations that have rebelled against me. So those four faces, those four uh, way of displaying itself, how it deals with other people. So like when the Chayot deals with the rebellious, he will come and bring a destruction upon them. How a mother deals with the children, she has a different face than how she deals with other people. She has a different face with the children when they're behaving, a different face with the children when they're listening. Same thing with the Chayot, same thing that's happening to Ezekiel here. So and it said that the Ruach would send the Chayot wherever they would go, and they would go there and they would do whatever they did, stand with the straight leg, with the Torah, walking in the correct way, how they were instructed. So it said, then he said to me, Son of man, stand on your feet, and I will speak to you. A Ruach entered into me, and he spoke to me, and it stood me on my feet, and I heard that which was being spoken to me. So, okay, Back to Hosea 6:1 through 3. So the three things here. There's 2 days, and then there's a third day where they live before him. So it says, "Come and let us return to Yah, for he has torn, and he shall heal us. He will bind us up from the 2 days. On the third day, we will live before him." This is standing up and walking with conviction with the instructions. The third day, standing up, walking with conviction, the inward man standing up, the ruach coming into you, right? So the first thing is laying down, sleep, but the outward man is very much awake. And the second step is like sitting up, like scratching one's head, like trying to, what is this? Looking upon it, inquiring upon what is this light? And then you start to see and you inquire, and then you stand up and you right, you stand up straight and you live before him. Now that's alive. That's the concept of life and death in the Tanakh. So he says, "Son of man, stand on your feet, and I will speak to you." A spirit entered into me as he spoke to me, and it stood me on my feet, and I heard that which was being spoken to me. He said to me, "Son of man, I send you to the B'nai Israel, to the rebellious nations that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have been defiantly sinning against me to this very day, and the children are brazen faced and hard hearted." What does it mean to be like brazen faced, or like the brazen altar? It's like the lower portion of the temple, the lower portion with the things they need
Yeah.
to leave behind.
Yeah, it's the brass. It's the lowest of the metals that's used in the temple, and you would notice the anything that's made of brass, that has brass things that is not dealt with. In other words, the lava that's made, that Yah gave the design to make the lavas for the priest them to wash their feet before they can even enter into the holy courts, let alone the holy of holies. The brass, the lavers for the feet, the wash basins were made of brass. So, and then you have the legs of the altar, the what we made, did the whole barbecue on, what they call the altar, right, of sacrifice. That whole barbecue pit, the legs is made of brass. So things like that. But when you start stepping into the inner court, you would find the showbread room and all of that. And you have some things are made of silver, some things are made of all gold, things like that, weapons, utensils, everything. But now in the second tier, the third tier, when you get into the holy of holies, where there's nothing in there but the ark, nothing in there but the ark, and only one time a year. This is the thing, how people don't understand those holy holidays. Yah is not in that ark and in the tabernacle and in the temple 365 days, 360 days a year. Never. He only comes there 7 holy days during that time, during those period only. Those are point. That's why it's called the Ohal Moedim, tent of what? They call it the tent. What do they call it in English? Tent of
Meeting
the. What do they call it in English? I don't even remember it anymore.
in a
The
tent.
tent of meeting, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
In Hebrew, it's the same Hebrew word that he gave us in Genesis when he said, in Genesis, I put the sun, moon, and the stars there for your what? Moedims. Appointed times. These are calendar dates for, these are like if you're setting a doctor, a dental appointment, and things that are crucial for your living. That's how we have to look at these 7 holy days. These are medical appointments from Yah. You're sick, you're diseased, you're sinful, and all that. I've got 7 doctor's appointment for you. Some of them, it's not probing and drilling and cleaning and poking and drawing blood and all that stuff. No, it's none of that. Some of them is just, hey, just coming for a checkup. You doing good? Hey, yeah. And what you're doing, you tell them, yeah, doc, I'm feeling good. Bring the doctor a flower, bring him a bottle of wine. Hey, doc, thank you for your treatment, blah, blah, blah. That's what a lot of these holidays, all of the holidays had nothing to, when you do the minka ain't got nothing to do with blood. The minka means vegetables. Even the Hebrew scripture, it tells you that. Minka is, even in English, it tells you that the minka is all about what? It's a vegan festival. Not all of the holidays had to do with animal sacrifice and all that. And when the Minka festival, y'all told us what? How to bake flowers. The whole Leviticus. Read Leviticus. If you don't know how to cook, read Leviticus. Leviticus tells you how to make dumplings out of flour. It tells you how to take flour and fry and make bakes when you fry it. It tells you how to make the flour. You can make bake like bread in the oven, or you can make cakes. It tells you add the sugar, add the salt, right? So these are recipes and healthy things how we are to do. But people, the, the people who gave us the scripture gave us that understanding. It's a bloody book and it's killing and sacrifice. Like hell no. If it was sacrifice, why are we eating? What? The sinful sacrifice of the priest when he had to take that she goat and all that, and then, hey, you got to sacrifice a she goat for the sins of Israel, and for the priest them, they can only use a bull for their sacrifice. If a priest shall sin, they have to use a bull. They can't use any other animal but a bull. Hello, I'm gonna mute. Someone talking.
Yeah, go ahead, Devon. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh man, I forgot we were reading. You see, you gotta stop me, brother, because I get into it. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna pause now. You get back to you reading.
Oh, but it's absolutely true though. Like the unleavened bread and then the unleavened cakes, like that's like the bakes, rotian, and it's like all these other things. Like it's in the scriptures. Okay, so he said, I will send you to the children of Israel, to the rebellious nations that rebelled against me. They and their fathers had divinely sinned against me to this day, and their children are brazen faced and hard hearted. So we spoke about how like the faces of the chayot are like they could be expressions of how they deal with other people. So Ezekiel just witnessed this, and he was sent a clear message, something that it was for him to inquire of and for him to look at and observe and see what it was. And now he's having his comprehension and receiving what he's receiving. How on how and why this is being revealed to him. It's for him to go and reveal a message as well. So the faces of the people that he's going to go deal with, they're brazen faced. So their expression is lowly things. So the Most High is going to send them a very clear message, and when He sends them the clear message, if they get it, they get it, and then they don't, right? Not He's not so with the children of Israel. He's very patient and loving and kind with the children of Israel. So He says, "They are brazen faced and hard hearted. I send you to them, and you shall say to them, Thus says Adonai Yah Alahayim. Now they, wherever they will heed, whether they will refrain, right? Whether they will listen whether they will stop, for a rebellious house they are, they will know that a prophet has been among them. He's going to send them a very clear message. Whether they heed to it or not, or whether they stop, that's up to them. But they're going to know that I sent you. But you, Ba'al Edam, son of man, fear not them and fear not their words, though they are thorns and thistles to you. And among scorpions do you dwell. Fear not their words, and be not intimidated before them, though they are a rebellious house. Speak my words to them, whether they will obey, whether they will refrain, for they are rebellious. She tells them, tell them my words,
Can I?
whether they listen or not.
Yes. Can I? I like to throw provoking thoughts into the thing. You mind if I say, Menelik? I don't know if you've peeped this, right? Uh, all throughout in the Hebrew, he's called Beni Adam, right? He's called Ben Adam, right? All throughout the scripture, he's called Ben Adam, right? Son of Adam, son of Adam. And so you have to ask yourself. Now we know the word Ish is the word for that's the word for man. That's the main word for man in the scriptures. Any other word for man is describing a type of man. When you use Adam, Adam, it's talking about the lineage of Adam, which would be the lineage of who we are today, right? Yasharel. So we have to ask ourselves, why is it in this scripture that the Most High make fit to see where he's not using the word he's not calling Ezekiel son of Ish, which means man. Even Adam was called Adam, his name, but it called Adam and Ish, which means man, right? You of the lineage of Ish, of fire. You come from the fire. The base root for Ish and Isha is, the root word is Esh, fire, right? So why is it that Yah never used the word Ish referring to Ezekiel throughout the entire scripture? Why is he called son of Adam? And this is why I hate the English, because they take the family name of Adam and made it into son of man. It's son of Adam. It's basically saying son of Jacob. But until we understand the lineage, that's why Yah left a lineage from Adam all the way down to the children, the 12 tribes, because it had to be established that we are of one nation, of one people, all the way back to Adam. And everybody else did not come from us. They may have been influenced by us, but we did not create all of them. Yah created all the other nations, like he created all the little different birds and dogs and kitty cats and birdies and worms and squirrels and all different type of races of species of cats and canines and what have you. So everybody want to say, oh, we got different kind of birds, small dogs, chihuahuas, Great Danes, all different kind of species of everything. Science said it's got all different kind of species of every animals on the earth, but when it comes down to humans, they have forced us, or they made us believe in all this time, oh, we're all is one. We all, if you cut me, then we all bleed red. Yes, we do, for the most part. But when I fillet my fish, or I buy a slab of beef and I go home and cut it, red blood coming out of that too. So am I gonna call myself, if you kill a squirrel or whatever, most animals, what comes out of them? Red blood. So am I supposed to call myself a squirrel and a rat and this and that because they bleed red blood? No. So that's something they've always, convinced us. Oh, we're all humans. We're all the same because we all bleed blood, cut out blood veins. Oh, no, 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 no. A rat bleeds red too. So stop it. Stop it with that, right? Yah created different types of humans, like he did different types of all kind of things, all different types of things. Butterflies, birds, all different types of things have different elements to them, and characteristics and changes. So that's who we are. And until we understand that, we will always want to include everybody else. I'm sorry, and I'll yield there. Thank you.
Hey, that was beautiful. So yes, he refers to Ezekiel as Ban Adam. So you can kind of look at this like have you ever seen like the A-Team movie? Elohim, he's gathering the A-Team right now. He's like, I got the Malachim, I got the angels here, the Chayot, and you, even though you're doing what you're doing right now, Adam, you know that this is your job, and now you got to do this. I'm gonna tell you what to do. So even though the children of Israel were as equal as rebellious as the other nations, if not worse, he's like, hey, we're about to get things in order, and I know you're doing this, but this is your job, and you, Yehezkel, Ezekiel, you're gonna go assemble the A-Team for me. Okay, this is what he said, right? It says, it says, but you, son of man, fear them not, and fear not their words, though they are thorns and thistles to you, and among scorpions you dwell. Fear not their words, and be not intimidated by them. Though they are a rebellious house, speak my words to them, whether they will obey, whether they will refrain, for they are rebellious, whether they're going to listen or not. You tell them what I said, and I'll do it. And you, son of man, as for you, Adam, heed which I speak to you. This is him right here. This is Adam, Ban Adam, our forefather. He messed up. But here's the chance right here, redemption. And you, Ban Adam, heed which I speak to you this time. Do not eat whatever they're going to tell you to eat. Eat this, what I'm going to tell you. Here it says it right here. And you, Ban Adam, son of man, heed which I speak to you. Be not rebellious like the rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat that which I give you. So if you guys have been around me in the way that I deal in the scriptures of people, like the eye doctor, one or two. One or two. So he told Adam, do not eat those other things. Eat what I've given you. So here's the Most High is going to keep flipping it to two for him because Adam didn't get it, right? They didn't get it in the wilderness. They didn't get it now. So he's going to keep flipping it to two for him, right? The lenses, facing the lenses, one or two. He's going to flip it to two every time again. Watch. Three or four. Same question. It's flipping it to two again, but he's saying three or four.
Con, con, con. I love what you're doing right here, man. Like it's beautiful, right? And isn't that what he did to Adam? Hey, one or two, tree of life, tree of good and knowledge of good, the tree of good and evil, tree of life, tree of knowledge of good and evil. The flip. That's the flip side. Make a choice. I love what you're doing. Go ahead, brother. Sorry.
Ken, that was beautiful. Says exactly. So he gave the choice to Adam. He's like, Adam, one or two. He wants Adam to choose two. One or two. Adam chooses one. He brings them out of Mizraim. He says, O Benai Israel, one or two. They still won't choose two. But now here's Yehezkel, Ezekiel. Let's try something new with you, Ezekiel. The Most High is still going to flip it to two. Two every time this time. He's not going to give him the option for one. He's going to tell him, hey, listen, he's going to flip it to two every time, but he's going to say three or four, Yehezkel. Can you see yet? Which one is clear to you? He says, and you, son of man, heed that which I speak to you. Be not rebellious like the rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat which I give you. So, in fact, he's not even just one or two, three or four, but he already has the prescription sitting right there with the lenses and the frames. Like, hey, Ezekiel, you gonna take this, put it on, and so you can see or not? He says, then I saw and behold. So he chose to put the lens on, and a hand was outstretched to me, and behold, it was in a scroll of parchment. He spread it out before me. It
Right.
was
Now
inscribed within.
let's
Yep.
let's
Go ahead. Go
picture
ahead.
this.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's picture this when we're reading this. Let's picture this what's going on here. A scroll is given to Ezekiel. What he's seeing that a scroll is presented before him. So he's rolling. That whole gala is the word for roll. That's where the word galgal is the word for wheel. We were talking about Ezekiel wheel. So I'm talking about the whole plane of whirl, the wheel and the roll, the same word for scroll. Because when you think of the scroll, the ancient scroll, they roll up like thick paper, like both sides, right? That's how the scroll. So you roll them out. So the whole rolling, that whole beautiful concept of the Galgal is used throughout the book of Ezekiel because it's telling about the rolling and the continuation of time and the continuance, right? The cycle of life, right? So the whole Galgal and the roll here. So let's picture it. A roll is being opened and now he's spreading. So imagine the scrolls are before you and you know how you roll them apart with both hands? You're spreading it apart to read it, right? And it's like Hine, the role of the book, right? So now you're about to go to verse 10. I'm reading it in Hebrew as you're reading it, so I'm keeping up and watching it. So now, okay, you're about to read verse 10. And you're gonna see the spreading of this roll. So go ahead. I'll mute.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So he's got like Ezekiel and the eye doctor thing here, and he's like, hey, so all right, so imagine if he was dealing with you, and you're the sons and daughters of Adam, which you are, and the Most High is like, hey, son of Adam. He doesn't even address you by your name. He's like, hey, son of Adam, so it can remind you, hey, why is he calling me by one of my forefathers' names? Which one are you going to choose, oh son of Adam? You're going to choose like your fathers, or you're going to choose what I'm telling you now? And he's like, okay, so I choose this one. I choose to see. But the Most High already had the lenses prepared for him and all that. He didn't even care what Ezekiel's choice is, three or four, which one you see better with. He already has the lenses there and the glasses sitting there for him. And Ezekiel's like, yes, I choose to see. Please give me the glasses. And he's like, what do you need the glasses for, Yehezkel? Haven't I just made you see clearly? Now here it is. Open your mouth and eat which I give you. Then I saw and behold. So he sees and behold, and no glasses needed. And a hand was outstretched to me, and behold, it was a scroll of parchment. and he spread it out before me. It was inscribed within and without, and in it was inscribed lamentation, moaning, and woe. You want to go into that, Sister Divine?
Yes. You know what? I think that's the last verse, right? So we're gonna go into um verse 3. So when we go there, it would flow more, because we have to remember these scrolls were always written. They weren't separated in chapters. They kept flowing like water. The all the scrolls just kept flowing. They didn't even have spaces between the words or periods or endings and all that. It was like a continuous flow of letters and words just jumble up into one thing, and only the people who knew what it said can go and look at it. They weren't separated into words like we're reading now. So I think if you go to Ezekiel 1, like read that last verse you read again, and we go into the chapter 3 and continue, and it would we can expound from there. We can
Okay, no problem.
yeah, let's read Ezekiel 3, 1 and 2, and then we can expound from there. It would make
All
more
right.
sense.
So say, and you, son of man, heed which I speak to you. Be not rebellious like the rebellious house. Open your mouth and eat which I give you. Then I saw, and behold, a hand was outstretched to me, and behold, it was a scroll of parchment. He spread it out before me. It was inscribed within and without. And it was inscribed lamentations, moaning, and woe. He then said to me, chapter 3, son of man, that which you find, eat. So it's like, okay, if you were a little kid, right? And you had a twin brother or sister, and you were like maybe 5 years old, and your mother told you, do not touch the stove, you're gonna burn. Your brother, he burns his hand first. You know that he touched the stove. Your mother's like, hey, you see what happened to your brother or sister? Burn his hand on the stove. Do not touch the hot stove. So he says it again. So this time the mother says, hey, hey, Menelek, hey, soul, and he calls you by your brother's name. Hey, Adam, you gonna burn your hand on that stove? So this is when you see Son of Man, like think of it like that, right? Then he said to me, Son of man, that which you find, eat. Eat this scroll. Then go speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth and he fed me that scroll. All right, go ahead, Sister Devon.
No, no, read the next verse,
All
please,
right, Ken.
and we'll.
And he said to me, Son of man, feed your stomach and fill your innards. And that word, I believe, is that word kilea or kile, Devon, for the innards? Let me see here. Hmm. Sister Devon, I think you're on mute. You got you following on the
I'm
on the
sorry, I keep muting. I'm sorry, I keep muting and talking. Where we at? And he says, son of man, cause your belly to eat and your bowels to fill with the roll. What word
yes.
were you asking about?
Is that kilea
What word?
for like the inwards of the vowel?
Oh, no, that's meik.
Okay,
Oh,
okay. So it
yeah.
says,
Yeah.
and he said to me, Son of man, feed your stomach and fill your innards with this scroll that I give to you. So I ate, and it was sweet as honey in my mouth. And real quick before you go
Stop.
in
Right.
Tehillim 19, we see he writes about in Tehillim 19. He says, "Oh, how I love your Torah! It's sweeter than honey to my lips, to my palate."
Khan. Okay, so now we can.
You're on mute, sis.
My gosh, I'm sorry. Khan, brother. So now we can go back to the last verse in chapter 2 and blending into the first three verses of Ezekiel chapter 3. And we can see when Yah told him, eat these, take the scroll. Remember, we ended with that scroll. Take the scroll. So we picture this like Daniel. Remember what Daniel did? Daniel took the scrolls, had the scrolls, and what did he do? He started reading, and he said he started reading the scrolls where the where Jeremiah, the writings the where the scribes of Jeremiah wrote down, and now Daniel is studying this. He's in the under Babylon script, and he's studying the scrolls, and he was like, "Yo, I just figured out studying the books. Hey, we're close. We're getting coming close to the 70 years going up. So it's like studying the scrolls, but also in the scrolls, what happened? Just like we're reading now. What did it says? It talks about all the stuff that's going to happen. Yo, you're gonna be killed. You're gonna be scattered. The nation's gonna come against you. You're gonna be yoked and chained. You're gonna be sold, get carried away on ships. You're gonna be sold. So all this eating, when he was swallowing the scroll, it's swallowing the words. It's like, yo, we're reading it now. Imagine what we're reading now is something that's going to be happening with us in the future. That's why we're the blessed people of this entire book. We're in the last days where we're reading all the events of the what we went through, and history says our people went through, and we know that we are living under the last kingdom that the scripture says we're going to be under. After that, it's 6,000 years is done, according to Genesis chapter 6. 120 days, 120 jubilees, it says 120, remember jubilees are 50 years. If you multiply 120 times 50, what do you get? 6,000. You can't make this up. Yah says, I never give you punishment and everything. I always give you a time limit. So when you go and read the New Testament, and it says, and JC says, no man knows the hour and the day and the time, that is contrary to our scripture, because Yah always tell it. When we went under the Moabites, Yah told us 18 years. You owe me 18 years. And we had to what? Serve 18 years under Moab. So he always told us how long we're going to be there under captivity. And that's why Daniel knew that. Like Yah says, I will never do anything without letting my children. Yo, no. He's not going to do it, because if he does it and we don't know and there's no warning, then where's the glory in him? How do we give him glory? It's like, yeah, scripture ain't never said anything about this. Yeah, I ain't never talked anything about this. Then now we can't give him his glory. That's why he said, I never do anything without letting my children know. So Daniel, when he read this, so the whole, now when we're reading here with Ezekiel, he's commanded to what? Open your mouth, Ezekiel, and swallow the what? Roll, the gal, the scroll. Swallow the words. What we are doing now, what we are doing, learning the words and taking it in, we are doing what Ezekiel, Yah commanded Ezekiel and the Daniels and the likes. Swallow the words. And the whole thing is, it's going to be bitter. He said, yo, it's going to go into your bowels and you're going to eat it. But what does it tell you? Some of it is going to be sweet like honey. The sweet part of the honey is, yo, what are we going through right now? The sweetness of the scroll that Ezekiel is eating now, he got the vision that, hey, we want to be saved. Yah is not just wiping us, he's not eliminated us. He can see, he got the vision of, hey, you're going to see your brothers and sisters, 1/3 of them being saved. You get to reunite with them in the end. You get to see that. Yah is not going to just wipe all of them out. There's 1/3 that's going to be saved. That's the sweetness. But what's the bitter part is seeing all the people who's going to be slayed. All of his people's going to be slayed. Some of us out there, his own immediate family and all that. That's the bitterness of the scrolls. That's what he was telling Ezekiel. Take these scrolls in. These are the writings from that I commanded Moshe to write, and all the writers after them to keep it up and rewrite the scroll. When they take it from you, when they ruin it, when they burn it, all that, sit you down, sit another prophet down, rewrite from the beginning. So the bitterness and the sweet is, yo, yeah, a lot of you gonna die. You're gonna get to see this. That's the bitterness of the scroll, the prophecies. But the sweetness is, hey, Yah ain't, he doesn't wipe out his covenant. You will survive, and you will have the remnant, and you survive. You will still have, remnants surviving, where they get to multiply and you get to meet your people in the last days. So that's the bitterness of that scroll that he's reading, the bitter and the sweet. The good and the bad. I'm sorry if I took too long to explain that, Menelik. Thank you.
No, that was very beautiful, Sister Devanya. I completely agree. So, like, how, to go along with what you said, like, picture everybody in this room. Picture yourself when you first started coming into studying these things, and your comprehension of the Exodus story was so much different than the way it used to be in like a Christian church. When you're like now, like how Sister Devanya said, wow, this is talking about the B'nai Israel. This is talking about who? Us. And it says what would happen to us. This is why it's happening. And he said he would bring us out again. So, like the bitter with the sweet, like how she said, some of them are not going to make it, but I am going to get out of this. This is the light, this brightness, this chasmal that they were beholding. Here it is. So, what do you think? This is an explanation of what was happening to you when you were receiving this brightness, when you were first beholding the Shema, the Exodus story, in this light, when you started to behold the Torah in this light, higher understanding that came from up and it lifting you up, that brightness you built. This thing that we just read in Ezekiel, this is exactly what happened to you when you first beheld the Torah with a proper understanding. Now let's see what it says. Okay, so and it's a beautiful thing. It says, he then said to me, son of man, with that which you find,
Menelik,
eat this.
I'm sorry. One more thing. Can you do us a favor? When you continue verses, like every few verses, can you mention the chapter and verse? Because sometimes new people are coming in and they want to catch up. So
Yes.
yeah, can you just mention the chapter? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Ezekiel 3 verse, we'll start at
I
1.
think.
He said to me, yeah, we'll start at 1. So it says, he said to me, Banadam, that which you find, eat. Eat this scroll. Then go speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth and he fed me that scroll. And he said to me, Yo, Zaya, come up here. And he said to me, so let me give Zaya like a little quick reset real quick. So that eye doctor thing, one or two, one or two. This is the choice that he gave Adam. This is the same choice that he gave to the children of Israel. One or two, one or two. But for Ezekiel, he's just flipping it to two every time, but he says three or four. And he even reminds them, hey, son of Adam, so that he doesn't make the same wrong choice. Hey, son of Adam, three or four. And like I said, he didn't care what Ezekiel chose. He's like, you're going to do what I told you to do because I'm choosing you now. And you don't need these glasses with this prescription I got sitting right here for you already. Haven't I just made you see, Ezekiel? Didn't I just open your eyes for you to see? So we were basically relating how this right here. Then he said to me, son of man, in which you find in this scroll, eat this scroll. Then go speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth and he fed me this scroll. And he said to me, son of man, feed your stomach and your innards with this scroll I gave you. So I ate and it was sweet as honey in my mouth. So Sister Devani just broke it down so beautifully. And we just, teamed up or whatever to break this down. Like in review, right, Zaya? Think of like when you first started to behold the Torah from a non-Christian standpoint, but to the standpoint of you being B'nai Israel, the children of Israel, and how sweet these words were to you, because you're like, hey, I am going to get out of this. We can. It's true. But the bitter with the sweet is that some of the people will not be able to make it, right? Shalom Zai, by the way, but hold on, let me get through this, right? So the bitter with the sweet, right? But this whole book of Ezekiel that we just read, chapter 1, chapter 2, the brightness, the light, the chasmal, the cherubim, all these things, how they move, how they will stand and do what the Most High says to do, all these other things. Ezekiel's going through like the same like kind of like initiation process. Like, hey, we assemble in the A team. Ezekiel, I know you're rebellious. I know your people are rebellious. But hey, we're assembling this. We're going to put things back in order. This is your job, remember? And he's like, hey, make the choice, Ezekiel. He calls him son of man to make sure he makes the correct choice, right? So he says, he said to me, son of man, go and approach the house of Israel and speak to them my words. For not to a people of incoherent language and difficult speech are you being sent, but to the house of Israel. So the children of Israel are speaking Lashon HaKodesh. They're speaking the language of the words inside of this book. So
Con,
nothing that he's about to tell them is going to be alien or strange to them. It's going to be very clear to them, right? And they will have the same revealing experience,
con,
and it will uplift them to where they will walk straight like the cherubim, the straight leg, and walk to in the ways of the Torah. Go ahead, Devon.
con, brother. I love how you're bringing this out. Thank you so much. Right, and it's beautiful then that Yah is bringing us on the same wavelength of understanding. So I wanted to um where it's saying there Ezekiel, Yah is sending Ezekiel. We go back and we read the book of Kings. We can read more about Ezekiel in those chapters, and you can read some of them in I believe Chronicles, right? So Ezekiel is being sent. That's why it said here, he's being sent to the northern kingdom, just like Jonah was sent to Nineveh to the northern kingdom. So Ezekiel is being on this plight, right? And remember, Elijah had went to the same thing. It's like, remember the northern kingdom for over 200 years, they were gone. Yah had just cut them off. They were gone, and the southern kingdom, they want nothing to do with them. So here it is. That's why, yeah, when you just read the verses here in the chapter 6, it's like chapter 5, it's saying, for I'm not sending you to a strange people with a hard language, you know, but I'm sending you unto the what? El Beit Yasharel. I'm sending you unto the house of Israel. He's sending him to the northern kingdom, and not unto a people, a strange people of a strange speech and a hard language. In other words, it's like, yo, I'm not sending you to the Canaan. I'm not sending you to the Egypt. I'm sending you to the northern kingdom. These are not people of a strange speech or a strange language, whose words you do not understand. That I sent you to them, to listen unto you. So, um, yeah, I just want to make sure. I want us to stay on track with what's going on here. It's Ezekiel going to the northern kingdom. Uh, in this what's going on here right now. But like Menelik is bringing out these things, yeah, right. This whole thing, it has the physical aspect, like what's going on in real life. It has the media aspect, like what we would go on with in when we're elevating, let's call it, for lack of a better term, what they would call, like, let's call it mid-class life, mid-class money, mid-class way of living. Think of it in a mid-class way of your mind, right? And as you elevate, now you get into high class part of your mind, and only Yah can bring you there with the commandments. So yeah, I just wanted to extend that Menelik, where we're talking about, hey, Ezekiel going to the house of Israel. Uh, it has a spiritual context and everything, the three different ways of understanding. But for those who are not there yet in understanding, to keep up with the story, we want to also let them know that Ezekiel is being sent to the house of Israel, the northern kingdom, at this time.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so, like we said, and that was beautifully put as well. So, like we said, so he says he's being sent. He says, "Go approach the house of Israel, speak to them my words. For not to a people of incoherent language and a difficult speech are you being sent, but to the house of Israel." So, like I said, like they're speaking the language of this book, literally only the words of this book. So it's not going to be confusing for them, and they will have the same kind of revealing experience of, wow, we are going to get out of this. All we have to do is come back to the Torah. It says it right here. And then they start telling each other these things. Okay, so it says, okay, now it says, it is not to numerous peoples of incoherent language and difficult
Hold
speech
on,
whose words you cannot understand.
Miller.
Huh?
Before you go forward, go back to that word eat. when it tells Ezekiel eat this Torah scroll, can you give me that word and tell the people what it means?
Yeah, con. So three. Uh, okay, hold on. I'm about to pull it
Oh,
up.
that Menelek, just
Yes.
forewarning on that question, and that's a great question, by the way, brother. The brother that asked that. But forewarning, I don't want us to get off of where we're at. Remember, we spoke about that word, the word for eat, okal. It means finish, it means complete, it means end. And it has so many variation. It would probably take us into a whole other places to explain that word for eat. So if you can give him just like a short abbreviation, and because we don't want to get off of the teach.
The lawyer, it has one variation, but she's going to explain because he's going to go into the lexicon and explain the context of what the word actually means. So when you're using the lexicon or you're using any lexicon, you know, two or three witnesses, usually they say the same thing or they bring it to a consensus on one particular point. So the reason why I'm asking him to bring it out is because of the fact of the word that he uses for eat. So a call, it does have different meanings or different definitions, however you want to say it, but in the context that it's being used in this scripture is very like profound. Like, yeah, we understand that, the people, who don't get into all of that stuff and don't really care for it, we get that. But me and Menelec, this is like pretty much how we study, and the people that are meant to catch it, they will catch it. The people who's not, it'll just go over your head.
Fair enough. Hey, peace, Zaya. Hey, I know you. We don't even have to bring up the channel, but we've met on different channels, even in the chat and all that. So I'm very much aware of you, and thank you so much. You've always been, as far as I know, since I've known of you, been Yah only. So it's peace and blessings. This might be the first. No, we've spoken before. I know you haven't. We have spoken before, maybe one or two times on other platforms. But I appreciate your input, and what you just said. Uh, I get where you're coming from. I just didn't want to go all off in a stray, because that word, we can literally do an entire show on that word, akal. We can, because it has depending on how it's written in the Hebrew, it can be written like it has so many different meanings, and it's written sometimes in different ways, different formats, but it's the same word. And I just didn't want it to go that far. But what you said was absolutely correct. I agree with you, and I appreciate you bringing that input. Thank you.
It's all love, Sister Divine. It's just a different look on, how we internalize, scripture. And I think like that's the thing about Ezekiel. And I think why Ezekiel is so one of the most books that I probably reference just as much as Psalms is because it's it's like, we can't go back in time to actually see these things that occur. The only way we can do what Ezekiel and what makes Ezekiel so prophetic is that the the things that he's prophesying about is timeless, like reformation of the mind, and things like that. It's just it's timeless.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's
Yeah.
grab this word. Let's grab this word. So it's hold on, let me see what it says. Vayef. So I opened eta pe, my mouth, vayakelene, which is from comes from what is it? Akal to eat, or like to eat, devour, burn up. It's like H398 or something. To eat, to devour, like to consume with like fire, to slay with the sword, to consume, to be eaten by man, to be wasted, destroyed. Okay, all these things. So like, I'm gonna just run through the word real quick, Zion. Let you do your thing real quick. So the word for inward parts, like in Jeremiah 17:10, Yah searches the hearts and the kidneys, the kilea, right? And then it means like inward man, the mind, the inward self, the inward parts of man, right? But it's also like the kidneys acceptable sacrifice. We went through that early in the temple diagram thing. Okay, so now I'm moving forward, like kile, just like kile, it means like to like it means to like consume, like what we just talked about, like a
Yeah, to
kale.
finish, to complete, to consume. If you eat a burger, you have just kala that burger. You have just kile that burger. You completed, you consumed the entire thing. You kale, so you finished it. You
Yes,
completed it.
yes,
So right, it's just, yeah, how it's used and the understanding how it's used in the sentence, that would give you the meaning. That's why we can have when we're in third grade, second grade, all that, they would put a sentence and they would say, choose the word that you think would fit in best to this sentence. So when you go into Hebrew now, it's like the word is there, the word has different meanings. Now you choose. This is where we're at right now. Yasharel. Yasharel. You choose what meaning the sentence is saying, not what it says in the King James or any other versions. You now choose. You are the awakening. The message was meant for you in the last days. That's why I preserved this book until the last days. You have the meanings, you have the words, you go into Hebrew, you go back in the original language, and you put the meaning of this word and let it flow with the sentence as you know that it would flow in your hood.
yes.
No,
Let me add this real quick to that. Let me add this real quick to that. So verse 7, when he's sending him to speak to the house of Israel, he says, speak my words to them, whether they will obey, whether they will refrain, for they are rebellious. So he says, so with a hidden meaning within what it's saying, it's like, are you going to take my words for what I'm telling you it is? Here's your choice, one or two, but I'm going to give you one choice. Choose it or don't. There is no one or two. It's one or one, but I'm going to tell you one or two, right? So this word, and then kela means like all, or like all these things, right? And then like kal means like all. So like, yeah, Zai, oh, you want me to read that verse again and then pull up the Strong's number you said?
Never mind. Never mind, cause yeah, I disagree with that whole entire statement. So I'm gonna just let y'all continue building because like that's like saying the word olam, right? Olam in certain contexts is mean for a time, but then when it means everlasting or forever, it actually means like everlasting or forever. But like I said, like that's a whole nother discussion, so I won't distract from what y'all got going. So yeah, I disagree. Like you can't pick more than one word, what it means. It means it's like if I use the word bad, I can say bad in a bunch of different contexts, but you know what I mean when I say that jacket is bad. Look good, but good. Oh, let y'all
so
speak.
you know what? That's very fair. May I please, Menelek, with that? That that's very fair, and I understand where you're coming from, Zaya. But let's think of let's think of this. Before the English language, they have continuously, they have everlasting, forever. These are terminologies. But when you get to the Hebrew, the word olam is olam. It's one word that means something specific within that Hebraic culture. But the word olam, when you're reading it, it keeps meaning, hey, it would mean, hey, forever, continuously, uh, 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 um, um, it has all kind of uh, 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 interpolation meaning that would entice the person to mean forever, forever, forever. But the proper word for olam, if you want to understand, it's more like continually, continually. So the thing is, we cannot use English words to define what our forefathers were saying in their culture at that time, because that's when we get thrown off. It happened to me, and I'm like, please forgive me. I am not I'm just saying we cannot use English words that came from Italian words that I mean Latin words that came from Greek words and try to explain a traditional ancient Hebraic cultural people, which we are. We can't do that because now we're taking what the word olam means, which they tell us it means forever, everlasting, and they have all these words. The best word, when I've studied that word olam, the best word that means it literally means an ascension, because al olam, it is literally an ascension of the person when they're keeping the laws. But Allah means continuously. So he told David this. He told Solomon this. You shall be the king. What? Olam. Was Yah telling David and Solomon, you're going to live forever? No. Continuously. And you will have a long, healthy life. But the scripture told you, every man shall die. So we have to be, I think, and I'm not, I hope I hope I'm not being I'm not trying to be a teacher. I just try to show different understanding. But so that word, we have to be very careful if we're going to look at English understanding where forever, everlasting, and all that. No, a better way of understanding the word olam mean continuously. So where when Yah gave us and told us in Deuteronomy, hey, you're going into slavery, when he gave all the prophecy where we're going to be, it doesn't mean forever, 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 because that wouldn't make sense when he tells us, hey, I'm going to come and save you. He always saved us and stopped us. Hey, Babylonians, hey, send us a savior. Was that forever? No. But he told them there was going to be olam. It's mean continuously until that time period is up. So alam, yeah, I try to share that my understanding. And again, I'm not saying I'm right, but that's my understanding of the word olam. It means continuously. And right now we have been continuously under this thing. But when Yah says, hey, it's done, and you guys are gonna have you're gonna have you guys gonna be in peace, and you're gonna come into my day of rest and all that, then that literally ends that, hey, you guys are going to be in torment forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. No, we have to go into his day of rest. So it's just for the understanding of the word olam does not mean forever. It means continuously until what? Until that period of time when the judgment is over. So
Yes,
I
yes. And real quick before we get off track, I'll try to get through this chapter here so we can finish up. I see both y'all perspectives, but this is what I meant when I said, okay, let's read it and let's go back.
Real quick, because I want to say this real quick. So, I don't disagree with what you're saying, sis. But everlasting, continuously, forever, they kind of like all the same thing. Like the rainbow is everlasting. It's continuously in the sky. It's not gonna ever fade. So my thing is the closest thing that we got in English, because our language is concrete. This is the reason why certain words can only mean one thing, because you mean what you say. They kind of talk like cowboys in a sense. When a cowboy make a statement, it's no other choice. It's he meant what he said and he said what he meant. That's the thing about our language. It's not abstract like English. Like, yeah, I can use a bunch of words in English to describe, one thing, but in our language, it's more like, like if I said today I'm gonna slap you, I'm gonna have to slap you, because that's like basically being concrete. So the concrete and the abstract, they somewhat disagree with each other, because I could say like, oh yeah, in English another concept and not carry out with it, but concrete means that it's carried out. It's what I said, and I meant what I said, and I did what I said. And that's the thing about our language. That's the reason why it doesn't have too many multiple meanings. It's just the words in English try to describe this concept of saying what you mean and meaning what you say in different words or different instances of a situation. Like Indians talk concrete, Hispanics talk concrete. There's a bunch of different languages that you know that can help you identify like what the scriptures are saying. And I'm not trying to be like contentious with you. It's just something for the people to understand, like when they're looking at these different definitions and different words, like everlasting, forever, continuously, they all mean the same thing basically. Like forever, I can say the rainbow is forever in the sky. I can say the rainbow is continuously in the sky. I can say the rainbow is always going to be everlasting in the sky. Yeah, like
Yeah,
you know.
we get it, but this is what I was saying though. Like, hold on. Okay, both of what y'all are saying, okay, but this is what I'm saying. When somebody reads Joshua 1:8, do not let the words of the Torah depart from your mouth. You shall meditate upon the Torah night and day. There's people that see that differently than what it just clearly should tell you to say. They'll say, yeah, I'm supposed to meditate upon the Torah night and day, but then they don't because it means something. It means read the New Testament to them. Do you see what I'm trying to say now? So I get what y'all are saying, but that's nothing to do with what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like that. So this is what it says. Then he said to me, Son of man, that which you find, eat this scroll, then go speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, he fed me the scroll. And he said to me, Son of man, feed your stomach and fill your inwards with the scroll that I give to you. So that Joshua 1:8, meditate upon the Torah night and day, do not let the words of the Torah depart from your mouth. Then you will be able to do all the things that are written in it. Then you will find your way and have good success. Some people read that and it tells them to go read the New Testament, but it says what it says. That's what I'm saying. So let's continue. Watch this.
Ah,
So it says,
excellent.
so I ate and it was sweet as honey in my mouth. So this sweet as honey in my mouth, but it's like a bittersweet because some like when he's digesting the words, he's like, wow. It's the same type of experience that we had when we first started to comprehend Shemot or Exodus in the terms of it's talking about us. And there's a light for you to get out now. This whole experience in Ezekiel chapter 1, Ezekiel chapter 2, and here, this is very similar to what you experienced when you first was revealed to this light and this brightness of the Most High, giving you this other understanding of what Joshua 1:8 is actually telling you to do, rather than somebody else read it and they're like, yeah, but it says read the New Testament. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Right? So, okay, so let's continue. So it says, so I ate and it was sweet to honey, as honey in my mouth. He said to me, Son of man, go and approach the house of Israel and speak to them with my words. For not to a people of incoherent language and difficult speech are you being sent, but to the house of Israel, right? So these people were speaking the language Lashon Kodesh, which is the words that are inside of this book and nothing else. So the words that he was going to give them is not foreign to them. It's not something they did not understand. It's not something they can't understand, but it's something they've seen before that they're very familiar to. But now, boom, here comes the light, the brightness.
Okay. Yeah,
Joshua 1:8.
yeah. I'm sorry, Menelek. Can I throw in
Yeah, go
to
ahead,
make
go
the?
ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just want to say, as we're reading Ezekiel, everybody, please remember, while Ezekiel, while we're reading Ezekiel and Ezekiel is going through all of this, Daniel is with Nebuchadnezzar, or Daniel during this time, he's going through under the Babylonian, on the during this time, he's going through his visions. So Ezekiel is on the river Kabar, Ezekiel and Daniel is in a different place. Jeremiah is at a different spot, and we have Hosea. So we have all these different prophets that are living during this particular time that's going on. So I want people to keep that in mind. As we're reading Ezekiel, imagine what Daniel is going through during the same period, because they were both captured at the same time but are in separate places. I just want to put that in so people can keep that in mind. Don't forget Daniel as you're reading Ezekiel. Don't forget Daniel is going through his thing at the same moment Ezekiel is going through all of this.
Yes, yes. So let's continue here in this chapter. That was beautifully put. It says, It is not to numerous peoples of incoherent speech and difficult speech, whose words you cannot understand. Surely I had sent you to them, they who would have heeded you. But the house of Israel would not seek to heed you, for they do not wish, let me go to the next one, to heed me. For the house of Israel is hard browed and brazen hearted. So we saw first brazen faced, and we discussed the Chayot, their four faces and their four expressions. And then it talked about the face of the goy, the face of the men, and it was brazen face, lower degree, right? So now it's talking about brazen hearted. So it says, they will not heed me, for the house of Israel is hard browed and brazen hearted. Even their mind is of the brass, the lower degrees. And says, behold, I have made your face hard against their face, and your brow hard against their brow. Like a metal stronger than flint have I made your brow. Fear them not
Okay.
and be intimidated before them, because
Yeah.
they are a rebellious house.
I'm I'm so sorry, Menelik. And you know what? Maybe I'm gonna have to just mute out, and if you guys would drop me down. But when we read things like this, I get pretty excited because there's a lot going on in here. When you talk about, I would make your face as adamant and harder than the flint, and the word for flint there is mitzar, and sometimes mitzarim is called mitzar in Hebrew. So it's just so much going on there and play of words with the word for flint, and I would make you harder. Yeah, I make you more harder than than mitzar, right? Mitzarim, the Egyptians. So again, it's a lot going on, and because I don't want to keep interrupting you, can you drop me down, and that would help me control my voice,
No, no, no. We want to keep
please.
expounding upon it. Isaiah, what I need you to help to explain this one as well, because I don't have the words either. So, like brazen faced and brazen hearted, like a brazen mind, a copper mind, like the mind of like one in captivity.
Yes,
Could you go into that?
Kazak Mitzar. It's like the flint. When you take a flint, when you want to cut a flint, and when you flint, you striking a rock to create fire, or you use a flint to cut what? They use flint to do the circumcision. You use the flint where we use that in the islands where you have the rocks them, and you do a big sharp side, and the rocks split. Those what you call the not sedimentary, the intermediate rocks, right? And you split them, and they break off into a sharp point, and it comes like a knife. So that whole the midside, the Kazakh midside, is like that splitting, that sharp knife that's cutting. So it's like that whole adamant, that knife. It's like that jit. What they call it? That jit. What's that Japanese sword they call it? It's like so hard, like jitsu or
A
jitsu
katana.
sword or
It's a
something like that.
katana. A
Yeah,
katana.
Yeah,
Jacinto, Jacinto.
yeah, right. Like a Chicana sword, like that. We see it in the video games. Yeah, it's
Quintana. Quintana.
katana. That's what it is, katana. So it's that whole play on that hard steel and that hard sword. But the word for it, if we see it in Hebrew, it said what? Mitzar, mitzar, mitzarim. Same word for the Egyptians, mitzarim. So those are the playing words, and that's why I want you to drop me down, because as you're reading, you're helping. It's like I'm seeing things, and I want to interject, and I'm feeling very remorse that I keep interjecting, and I don't want to do that to your lesson
No,
or.
no, that's what we want. That's what we want. So, like, yeah, stay right here. That's what we want. So,
Amen.
it's a team. It's a team effort. That's what we said in the beginning of this. It's a team effort. That's what we're trying to do. So that's why we chose 3 chapters today instead of like 12, because we're gonna go deep into this one, right? So, hey, Soul, you still there, right?
Yeah, this is how me
Con-
and Menelec study all the time. So it's not a problem.
Hey, how many hours did we spend on just Ezekiel 1 until where we're at right now?
It's been like two at least.
See what I'm saying? So that's why we chose, me and Soul, we chose 3 chapters because we're gonna dive deep into this one. So, Zaya, if you want to go into brazen faced or like copper faced or like and brazen hearted, like to me, it's like he's sending them these words of like redemption, but they need to have like the mind of like redemption or whatnot. but it's kind of like Kunta Kinte trying to tell Fiddler, like, bro, we got to get up out of here. And Fiddler's like, nah, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, I mean, everything that y'all said is correct. And basically what it's saying is that, you know, is that it's basically talking about like later on in Ezekiel, where it's talking about you will go out there with the other garments. So you're gonna be just as crazy as they are in layman terms. I'm gonna just break it down in layman terms. You're gonna be just as crazy as they are when it comes to battling, you know, with the word and the scriptures. So you're gonna be able to go at it with these people. So just in layman terms, like everything Sister Divine said about the flint rock, that is actually correct, and I have that exact similar breakdown. So a lot of the times, and he would actually make it stronger, which means that because we study and we actually internalize and we consume, that's the reason why I wanted you to go over that word consume, because you know when you are consumed by something or or what you would say this the animation or the spirit of the Most High, then you become what they say, quote unquote, godly, or you become a god because now you can decipher information, right and wrong, truth from a lie, however you want to put it. But that's exactly what it's talking about. Just it simply
Well,
means exactly what it says.
no, let's be careful with that, Zaya, because when a person can get consumed, and that's why you see the same word in Genesis where Yah told, what was the commandment to Adam that he commanded his wife to do? Lo akal. Lo akal, the same word. Do not consume from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Lo akal. That same word. So akal does it means literally eating. When you eat, if you eat food, what are you doing? You're taking that food, and once you eat it, that food doesn't exist no more. You just wipe that fruit. You have an apple in your hand, you consume it. That apple that you had in your hand does not exist anymore. So when you go and consume, so the same word kala, if you go and kill a person, you have consumed that person. That person does not exist anymore.
Yes, that's the reason
So
why people get turned into packs, and that's why they're saying what they're saying today. It's not something new, Sister Divine. This consume that you're talking about, I agree with your breakdown, and that's the reason why I'm saying that it means exactly what it says. So when King David is talking about this in Psalms, he says, "My zeal have consumed me, for I have known no other love than your word." Like
Con-
it's how you, it's in what context of what is being said.
but
So it's like in the context of what you were talking about with Eve and them, that's correct. But King David also gives you another context where he's saying, I'm consumed by my zeal and my love for the Most High. And that's the reason why Ezekiel is saying, let it consume you. And that's the
Zach,
reason why, hmm?
I'm gonna punch you in your face. I'm gonna give you an electronic, uh, spiritual, but softly punch in your face. I have cotton gloves on, and no leather above it, so it's gonna be a soft punch. But I'm gonna mean this punch. This is exactly what I had said. Remember when you introduced and said, "Hey, Judah," when you said, I'm so sorry, when you said to explain that, right, you were like, hey, break that word down. And Menelek, I was like, that's why I came in and said, hey, Menelek, no, it goes into too many different things, because that word means it has so many aspects to it, and it's going to throw us off the course. And exactly what you're saying now, I'm agreeing with you, and that's exactly, look where we are now. We're probably 15 minutes later. The same reason why I didn't want to get this, I wanted, Menelec to keep going, is exactly what you did now. So I'm agreeing with you. That word has everything in the context right now where we're going. It's like, so I guess we're on the same page, but a different perspective. It's like I'm across the street. It's raining, and you're across the street. Street is the sun is shining, or vice versa. But that's why I didn't want to get into it, because that word has so many different meanings of consumption and consumption. That's why I said, yeah, and the children of Israel shall consume akal, their children. And akal also means when you're working somebody, what? To death. You working somebody to the bones. You're working them to death. Slavery. So that same word for slavery, it used when you akal a person, means you're consuming them. You're using them to death. You're working them to the bones, to the death. That's why I didn't want to get into that whole word. So again, I just want to say everything you're saying, I agree with you with your interpretations, because you're absolutely right. That angle from your perspective, the scripture says that also. So again,
Yeah,
we're not here fighting. We're on the same page, but just different vantage points. And
yeah,
that's like a thing we can do another day. But I think
yeah. Well, I would say this about what is being said in Ezekiel, and what he's talking about, that is the exact same reason why, like, if I'm consumed with the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because yes, somebody else can consume, like the prophets of Baal, for example, with Elijah. Elijah, even though he had his little doubts or whatever, he was still consumed by his love for the Most High. He was still wholehearted. So when he went and challenged the prophets of Baal, in instances he could have died. Like if you really look at the story, like he went solo. He really could have died if they really was on that type of timing. But because and that happened to a lot of the prophets. They when they went into their situations, a lot of the times, like if you think about like the wickedness we do as a people, you know, with just the stuff we be doing on this app, cussing each other out, yelling at each other and stuff. Like imagine if the person was in front of you, you might hit the person. So
Khan
and that's
and
because they consume by whatever spirit that they consume by, and we consume by whatever spirit we consume by the Most High,
Khan
and that's why we go at it. But
Khan.
we're tougher than them.
Bless you, brother. Bless you, brother. But I know Menelek was on Ezekiel. I think it was 3:10. Where are you at? Because I'm scrolling through Menelek. Was it 9 or 10? You were at?
Yeah, could you actually take over reading for me, please?
Oh no, I had the Hebrew script pulled up. Okay. Let me switch over.
Let me see where we're at. Hold on, let me see. We're at
No, no, I know where you at.
um
Not the Hebrew script, but it's let me go to the
yeah, it's Hine Natate eta Penacha Kazachim Leumat Elohim Be'et Nisaka Kazak Leumat Mitzcham, right there. But yeah, could you take over reading for me, somebody, for a little bit?
Yeah, I can't right
Khan, bro.
now. Bro.
Okay, Khan. All right. I'm trying to bring it up in English, so everybody, so I can follow along.
Let me see. I'll read this one for you
Uh,
while you grab it.
okay, yes,
Uh,
please.
Hine is like to like behold, Natate, behold, I have made eta Panacha, Fanecha, your face, Kazachim, strong or great, Leumat, Fanayim, against their faces, before their faces, Ve'et Mitzchacha, Kazak, and thy forehead strong, Leumat Mitzcham, against their foreheads.
Khan. Okay, that was Ezekiel. You just finished Ezekiel 3:8. Semak, right? And the word you guys wonder for forehead is the sak, right? The sade and the ket, right? So of from their foreheads, and the mem at the end is there, represents the there, right? Talking about the plural. So mitzakam, from there as their foreheads, right? So from their foreheads. So I'm sorry, I'm gonna stick. It's kind of bit of difficult, so I'm gonna continue. So now we're on Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 9. And forgive me, I'm reading from the Hebrew, and so the interpretation is gonna be given from the Hebrew. And please forgive me if you guys don't want it. Please let me know. I'm gonna try and go into the chat, and people can say stop. So you have Kemashi, right? Keshamir, right? As adamant. We just finished with the adamant. He's gonna make our forehead adamant. Kemashir Kazak, harder. Mitzar Natiti, right? So harder. I'm gonna make that flint harder. I'm gonna make that harder than I've made. Mitzarek, right? Let me get to the English. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do it like this.
Where we at? Verse 9?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I'm trying to bring up the English so I
yeah,
can.
Keshamir Chazak Mitzor, Natate, Mitzecha, Le Tira Otam, Velo Techat, Mifanayim, Ki Bayat Mere, Hemate. It's like adamant and harder than like a flint. Have I made your forehead? Do not fear them. Do not be scared and dismayed or confused of them and
Yeah,
their looks. Though the house, they be a rebellious house.
yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, man. Like I think it's that whole teaching thing in me. I don't want to read out the whole verse in Hebrew. I was trying to like go by each verse, and you're just like reminding me that it's not that effective when I do it like that. So it's better if I just read it out and then just say the verse what it's saying in English. So yeah, that's something I have to stop doing, going word for word, because I think I'm teaching. I'm in a teaching class now, so I appreciate you doing that. You want to repeat that verse again, and I'll continue. I'll if you're busy.
Yeah, no problem. So it says, where were we at? Keshamir chazak mitzor natate miskecha le tira otam velo techat mifanayim ke bayat meri chema. Like, be like adamant and determined, harder than flint. I have made your forehead. Do not fear or like be dismayed or like scared or like confused with them. With their looks, mifanayim. Ke bayat. Though the house, they be a rebellious house.
Khan. And when we can picture that, we think of it. If you want to picture it, think about it when his Yah is saying, "Yo, don't worry, you're gonna go against Negroes. We're keeping it real between our people, right? You're gonna go against Negroes who gonna come against you, be saying all kind of shit. Yo, your Bible ain't real. Yo, I'm an atheist, man. Your Bible ain't real. You're gonna blah, 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 blah. You're gonna come against this. But what does Yah tell Ezekiel is an example of, hey, I'm gonna have my remnants where I'm gonna make your forehead, the forehead, that sap, that sap. I'm gonna make your forehead, that forehead represent it's talking about within your brain. I'm gonna make it more what? Tougher, adamant than stone, where they can say all kind of stuff to you. You believe in a Yah and the Torah only and all this stuff. But Yah says, I'm going to make your forehead more adamant than what? Granite. You know what kind of more adamant than diamond? You can imagine the hardest stone, the hardest granite out there. Yeah, he's saying, I'm gonna make your forehead, your brain, yet everything more dominant than them, so they can come and attack you in any angle. Yeah, says I'm gonna make you more adamant than that. You're gonna be more adamant than that. I'm gonna make your forehead stronger than their forehead, where you can able to stand up to all of the BS they're gonna come throwing at you. You're not gonna be one cowering like Saul, going running where somebody gotta come and bring you out for you to be crowned. He says, no, I'm gonna make you like righteous. You're gonna stand up with your head up. What? What you doing? Bowing your head down? No, lift your head up high, shoulder up, soldier. That's what he kept telling us, telling our brothers throughout the scriptures. Gird your loins up. He told Jonah that. He told Ezekiel. He told all our men that going all the way back to Israel. Gird your loins up. Be a man. Don't need you to be here sulking about what we're gonna do. Blah, blah. This is not the time for you to be sulking, talking about what we're gonna do. This is the time for us to figure out shit what we're gonna do. Not sulking about what we're no. Be a man. Gird your loins up. Right? So Yah is saying, I'm gonna make you're gonna be going against some Negroes, Negras. You're gonna be going against, we know what we're talking about when I say that, right? You're gonna be against your own people. There ain't nobody tougher and rougher gonna be coming against you than that. Even all the other nation know when, hey, back down. I ain't even dealing with that nigga. They would call us nigga. I ain't dealing with that nigga. But our own people, we would go stand toe to toe, face to face. What? Rap battle. We're gonna bring out a rap battle. Come on, let's do it. That is us. Adamant and stone, and Yah is saying, yo, I have made your forehead with what is in your brain. I have made you as you are tougher than diamonds and all that stuff. Don't let them sway you. They're gonna say all kind of shit. They're gonna tell you get the hell out of here. You won't even who we know you. You a Tishbite. What you doing here in our land? Coming here telling us what to do.
Tell it, Sister Devanya. Tell it.
They're gonna say all kind of stuff to you, Ezekiel. But I'm making you adamant as stone. Ezekiel, you're a priest. Ezekiel got his long hair and all that stuff. Ezekiel got his thing. He's got his priestly crown. He's got his anointed oil. Everybody know Ezekiel. People went to the temple. What? Ezekiel was the one who was a preacher. He is known. But when Yah chose him to do this, Yah is like Ezekiel. Can you imagine? It's like, yo, I'm a multi-billion trillionaire. I'm the priest. I like yo, I'm not only a billionaire, multi-million. I have the priesthood to the what? I'm like basically there. You come to me and tell me all the things, and I talk to Yah, and Yah already know what you already come to me about. But hey, listen, he talks to me, so I can come back and give you the message, right? So here you have Ezekiel going through this and all of this, and hey, I made your head adamant. You going up against hard-headed with Israel. You're gonna going up against the same people that I brought out of Egypt. I brought them up out of Egypt, Ezekiel, and they wanted to go back to Egypt. They wanted to go back because they weren't eating meat and all that stuff for 40 years in the desert. They kept crying because that wasn't there was no meat involved. It was manna from heaven. They want to go back. That's why he told Samuel, Samuel, they is not you they're rejecting, they're rejecting me. So I'll give them Saul as a king. They don't want me. They want Saul. They want an earthly king. So they so adamant, and Yah is coaching Ezekiel now, saying, I will make your adamant as stone. Like no matter, I don't care what, I don't care if name all the wicked people of our nations who we have known who've done wicked things like criminals. We're talking about thugs and all that who's like kill to kill and gangs and all that stuff. Name all the top of the top going back in the past. I don't want to do that. I don't want to revoke. I pray for their souls and may bring, give them a second chance. Their spirits a second chance in life to correct themselves, right? But you think about them. Yah is saying, you can send up the baddest of the baddest of the baddest of the baddest. Send up John Gotti. I can name all the other people. Send up Gotti and all them people. Send all of them. Yah is telling Ezekiel in this verse, I will make your forehead more adamant, where you can walk into John Gotti's office and say, yo, thus says Yah. This whole thing this is what Yah is saying. Yo, son of Adam, not man, son of Adam, I will make your forehead more adamant than any other material. So, okay, I'm sorry. I might have taken a long time. If you want me to stop Menelek and you want to come in, I don't know, you said you want me to go on with the chapter 11.
But yeah, keep going, keep going. So like, yeah, just keep going.
God. So, Wailek Ba, right? Okay, so now Yah is telling Ezekiel, Wa lek bo el hagolah el beni emik, right? He says, and go get you unto the people, go to your people hagolah of the captivity, el beni emik, to the sons of your people, where debarata, and speak Elihem unto them, where amarta Elihem, Ka amar Adonai Yahweh, and say unto them, thus says Yahweh, Adonai, Yah, your Lord, Im Shmayu, where Im Ikadelu, it's like, yo, whether you hear or whether you don't hear, you forbid. And then the next thing, the next Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 12, it says, Wa ti shameni. Shameni, when you have the ni at the end in Hebrew, almost every time, ni means me, right? So that the nun and the e at the end is saying he. So it's saying, Wa tishani, and took me up, right? Tisha, Shai is lifting up, right? So Tisha ni lifted me up, Ruach. So it's the Ruach, the Spirit lifted me up, where Ashma, Akari, Ko, Ra'ash, Gadol, Baruch, Kebod, Kebod Yahweh, right? So it's saying, so now this, it took, the Spirit took him up, lifted him up, where Ashma, he heard, when I heard, he's saying, I heard behind me, Akari, behind me, Kol Ra'ash, right? A voice of Ra'ash means, Ra'ash also means violence, anger, evil. So he heard, like, could you imagine like some boom, boom, like you hear some noise of explosion and rushing of noises, sound like whole destruction going on. So that's what Ra'ash mean, right? In a sense, if you want to picture that word, right? So he's hearing this Ra'ash Gadol, Baruch. No, but right. So it's like a great, it says great Russian, but it's like a great turmoil. He's saying, like, yo, yeah, it's judging the earth. It's like all kind of noise and earthly events are going on about it. So he's hearing that. And it's like, Baruch Kebod Yahweh. Blessed be the glory of Yah. Ma Mekumo. Mekumo. You see how it ends with the wav that I was trying to tell somebody earlier? When it ends with the wav, it's always talking about a group of people or he. So where me ma komo, mo, the mo at the end with that wav is saying ya in his place. Makom means place. Ma, of ma in front of it, ma mekomo is like mim komo. So it's from his place, because you have the O at the end. So it's talking about Yah. So it's like Mim Komo, from his place. So when with that, that's the things we have to start learning for everybody of us who are learning. And I'm still learning. We have to understand the endings and the prefix and suffixes. If we don't understand other words, we can always get tricked. Oh, it's saying he, or it's always saying she, or it's always saying they, and all that. And it's like, as long as the English language tells us that's what it says, we're gonna believe it. But understanding the English, the ending, right? So Makomo, so Waiko, verse Ezekiel, verse 3, verse 13, and let me try and go to it in English. For the So it said, and the noise, the noise of the wings of the creatures touched one about another, and the noise, right? And the word for noise is the same word for voice in English when we're talking about people. Kol, Kol, which is the with the kof and not the kal. Again, knowing the alphabets, you would understand. So the kol is a different spelling, which is similar to kol, which means all. Kal, kol, kal, kalim, kala. So, but kol is noise of the ha opening, the wheels, right? The same wheels of the chariots. Le amatam, right? Ending with the M, over against them. Wekol ra'ash gadol, and the noise or the voice of the rushing of the evil. Ra'ash also means wickedness. So that noise of the rushing gadol, it says wekol ra'ash gadol. Kol also means the voice of a person. The voice of a person, right? Ra'ash also means wickedness. It's, as a matter of fact, most of the time when you read Ra'ash in the Hebrew, it means wickedness. So it's the voice of wickedness is great. Gadol means great. With Kol, Ra'ash Gadol, and the voice of the wicked was great. Again, I think it would read better when we translate it, right? So Ezekiel, I'm sorry, Amenelek, I can stop there. You want to continue from there? You want me?
Oh yeah, I'll run through it real quick. Well, that was pretty good. So okay, so it says in verse the previous verses it's saying like a copper face and then a copper heart. Like that's like he's like I'm sending you to people with familiar words. They're not gonna misunderstand these words that you're saying, but they still will not, they're rebellious. So like how I said, I use the example how they were speaking the words of only the scripture. That was their language, the Lashon Kodesh, right? So he's like, I'm not giving you unfamiliar words to them, but they're rebellious. So I gave the example of Joshua 1 and 8, right? And how they would take that as, oh yeah, read the New Testament. And Joshua was like, no, fiddler, we needs to be free. Read it again.
He
Do
said,
not let the book of the Torah depart from your mouth. You shall meditate upon it day and night. Then you will be able to do all the things that are written in it. Then you will find your way and have good success. And Fiddle's like, nah, I'm gonna go play this Christmas songs for Massa. I don't know what you're talking about. I know what that book says, brother. I know what it says, brother. We free right here. Okay, so anyway, the next verse is Vayomer ele ban adam eta kol devrei asher adeber elecha kach bil waveka.
which
How do I say
verse do you
that?
want?
Bil
Sorry, which verse
10,
did you just read?
10, 10.
Oh, I thought we were on verse 14. I thought we would.
Yeah. I'm just gonna break down this word. Just break down this verse real quick.
Okay,
How do I
okay,
say this word right here? Where it's like
okay.
uh,
Gotcha, gotcha. Thank you.
try to follow me and 10 real quick and help me with this word. Vayomer ile manedam et akol devarai asher adeber elecha kach bivavecha. Is that how it says? Bivavcha, bilvavcha,
Be be is within, like in. Lebab is the word for heart. So
levavcha.
within your and the K at the end represent it's talking to the person he's talking. So you. So it's in your heart. So be lebab ka is in your heart.
Ken, toda. Uveaznecha. Shema, Shema, listen with your. So he's saying, um, he said unto me, Son of man, all of my words, Devrai, which I shall speak to you, receive them in your heart and with your ears hear. Right? So, like I said, the same example. Uh, Joshua, we tell the Israelite, Joshua 1 and 8 says, do not let the words of the Torah depart from your mouth, meditate upon them night and day. Then you'll find your way and have good success. Then you'll be able to do all things written in it. I asked them, where does it say to read the New Testament right here? And they're like, yeah, but see what I'm saying? So this is how something that's very clear could have two meanings to somebody, right? This is the rebellion of the house of Israel. So it says, where'd you leave off again? You said 14, right?
If you can, yes.
Okay. Veruach nesha at at what is that? Etni
Well,
nesha
where ruach,
neshatni?
where ruach nesha ani. So it's where ruach nesha. The sa is lifting up, right? That's the root word, means lifting up. She'at ni means me at the ending of the Hebrew words. So it's like where haruach, the spirit, lifted me up, and then you go to the next sentence. Yeah.
Right. So like his mind is like being lifted up to a higher understanding of what
Right.
his job is
No,
to do. So
yeah,
like,
no, yeah, right. The spirit of Yah, Yah. Remember, we started out with Ezekiel, Yah, giving him the instruction. Ezekiel, eat these scrolls, eat the words, eat the rolls where were written from Genesis all the way down to where you existing right now. Eat these words, like he told Daniel, and Daniel was what? Eating the scroll. Same thing. So he's trying to understand what's going on, just like we are now. We're eating the scroll. So he's going through this experience that you and I and many of us are going through right now. Eat this scroll. So now he's explaining what is going on with him. The spirit, as he's going through the scrolls, the spirit is lifting him up. And you can go, I think, the next sentence in 3:14. You can go ahead. It took me away there.
how do you say that word one last time though after ruach?
Neshani, Neshaatni.
Okay. Veruach neshatni
Mhm.
vatikakene vaelech mar bechamat bechamat ruhi ruachi. It's like the root spirit. Veyad
Ruaki, my
Yahweh.
spirit. Ruaki, once you put the yod at the end, Ruach is spirit, and once you put the yod at the end, you would know it's saying my spirit. Anytime you see a yod at the end, it's a lot of the times it's talking about the you and the personal person talking about me. So it's saying Ruaki. Ruaki is my spirit. So now it's saying he lifted me up. The spirit, the rage of the spirit lifted Ruaki, my spirit, where
Ken.
Yadi is the next word, where Yadi Yahweh, and the hand of Yah, Ali Kazaka, and the hand of Yah was upon me strongly, right? Or the strength of Yah was upon me.
Right.
The, the,
So
the, the,
yes. So like yes. Perfect. Yes. 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 Ruki veyad Yahweh ale kazaka. So like yeah. So like he went up and like what's his word here? Hold on. Let me go to it. Bit and he went up in like
we have to remember this
went
is a
up in like a
vision now.
pain or like bitterness. Yeah, like he went up in like a
Manelek,
pain or
Manelek,
bitterness. Yeah.
Manelek. What are we talking about? I just got off work, so
Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 14.
let's get it, baby. Let's get it.
God. So it's like the spirit lifted him up.
He's got it.
And yeah, the spirit lifted him up and like took him away. He went in like well, how do we say this word? Hold on. Bechamat in like bechamat in like heat,
In
like or
rage, we
ruach
would
of the
say,
spirit.
when somebody say, yo,
Hara,
he's
hara,
kara, right? When we
ha,
would say this,
hara,
listen,
hara,
we
hara.
can, okay, we can pronounce it different ways, but we understand the word for calm is heat, right? Kara, ham, ka. We know that the word, so that word there is ham, right? You have the base root is ham, right? Kam, ham, how we pronounce it in the middle. So it's saying be kamat, and the T at the end pluralizes it. So it's like, yo, he was in be kamat, rage. The bitterness in rage. That's what it's saying, right? Because kalmat mean you and he, because the scripture tells you, it defies, it says when Yah gets angry, it tells you what? His nostrils flares. There's no word for anger or angry in the entire Hebrew. There's no such word as angry. The only way you can describe angry in Hebrew is nostrils, api, the nostrils flared. And what do we know about our people? When we get mad, our nostrils what? Flare. So yeah, there's again, that's all emotions are always painted by the New Testament, but our
Right.
people, we dealt with what we can see visible, and our language describes everything about our language describes it. So if I say, yo, man, yo, he was raging, yo, his nostrils was raging like a bull when that guy said that to him.
Right.
You don't have to tell that person, hey, that meant he was angry. No,
Right.
we know a bull is angry when his nostrils fear. That's exactly how the entire scripture is written. 5 sentences.
Sister,
We are the people of
Sister
the five.
Divana,
I'm sorry.
I could feel it, and you are one of the chosen ones too. You are one of the
Don't
chosen
say that
ones.
to me,
I could
scatter.
feel it.
Please don't say that to me. I don't believe in that. I will never subscribe to that. I don't say that to me. I am a
You
subject. I am
is
a
them.
servant. I am one of all of you, all of us who are gathering. I don't
We
like
here
words
now.
like that.
We here now.
Yeah, but but let's just keep with the script and continue to learn. I
Okay.
don't want. I don't, please. I appreciate you though. Please, I really appreciate, and thank you for your kind words. We were in chapter Ezekiel 14, right? Menelek, it took me away where
Yeah,
I
chapter 3, verse 14. Yes, yes, yes.
God, right? So it said where Ruach Neshad the Shad Ni, right? And the spirit lifted me up, Sa, right? Sa. Yeah, okay. And why I pronounce things differently. So Watikachni, right? You see the ni at the end again in that word? Watikachni. Some people may
Come on.
pronounce it kakni. You have the ni at the end again. So it's like, and he took me or lifted me up, and he said, Wa alek, and I went. Mar means bitterness. How
Shit.
do we know that word? Because the
Damn it.
scripture already taught us about the word. There's a background going on, right? Scatter, can you mute?
Yes,
I hear you. I
Can
hear you,
Mike.
you
Sister
mute?
Vanna. I hear you. I hear you.
No, can you mute?
She's
Because
trying to
you
talk.
have a lot of background noise coming in. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, brother. So when we look at knee, right? So it's just showing the format of understanding I'm just trying to teach a little bit of Hebrew culture. So when you see the knee at the end, it's usually talking about me. Me means me. So it says, and the spirit lifted me up and where tikach knee, and it took me where I lek and I went. Mar. Now we get to the word mar is bitterness, right? Now let's think about it. What is Mariam's name is? Why is her name Mariam? Is it a coincidence that her name is Mariam? No, Mar is one of the main words throughout the scripture for what? Bitterness. That's why we call when we strive at the river. Remember when Moses struck the rock and he didn't use Yah's name and he struck that rock 2 times and the water came out and blah blah blah, but he didn't use that name. The children of Israel blah, 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 and call it blah, 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 blah. And what's called what? The valley of what? Mariba. Bitterness, the valley of bitterness. So the word mar, so it's saying, and where alek, mar, the bitterness, be kamat, in
Elder
rage,
sister,
in heat.
is this Salaki?
So
Salaki. I'm sorry. Is this got something to do with you and a woman, or just tell
no,
me?
It has
Okay.
nothing to
Okay,
do
I'm
with
gonna shut up.
being a woman. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna end what I'm doing right now because
No, 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 no,
Menelik,
no, 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 no.
no, brother, no, Scatter, please. I'm Menelik is on a teaching. He's got this channel. He's got this scripture reading right now, and it's going good. Soul is they have this thing going right now. I don't want to interrupt it. This is not. I didn't come on here to do a whole thing. Interrupt. I want to. This thing is going beautifully, and we're just going through reading to the scriptures. You
Yeah.
just came on, so let us flow with it. And I'm gonna please turn
Okay.
it back to and let him
Okay.
flow. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Well, no, I was gonna say like, if you want to finish up the chapter for me, because I ain't eat all day. I'm still here listening. But yeah, that's exactly why, Sister Divine, and we only picked three chapters because you see how much information is in it.
Khan, Khan, brother. So we were at Ezekiel 3:14. Thank you very much. And where Ruach, where Shatani, and lifted me up, where Tak, I pronounce it Tekachani, right? So, and he took me up, that has the me at the end of it, where Alek, and I went up, Alek, Mar, right? Like the Mar means bitterness, Mar, Ba, Kamat. It's like, yo, I went up in bitterness in, Ba is in, and Kam, we know Kam means heat, rage. It describes the feeling, and the T at the end is pluralizes it. Where Bekamat, and I went up in rage, bitter rage. Like, yo, he was like saying, yo, I'm mad as a mother. We would describe it nowadays. Like, I'm mad as a mother. And he's like,
Yep.
oh,
Yep.
oh. This
Yeah,
was
we all like that. Well, not all of us, but most of us, our young brothers and sisters, we are like that. Especially in like hard, like poverty, we're like that. Trust me,
con,
we like that. We be like, damn, why the
con
damn?
scattered.
We be like that. What they
God
want?
scattered. And
Mhm.
this is why I love reading the scriptures, because it helps us relate to some of the personal relationships that every individual is going on through their life, because there's somebody in the scriptures
This,
that went
you
through
know what I told my
that we
dad?
can relate.
I'm Salaki again. You know what I told my dad today? I'm like, this is rehab. This is you being baptized. This is you going to church. In the New Testament, it say if it's three or more people, that is what? That's a church. So please stop saying that word. Not y'all. I'm speaking on like I don't know what the fuck. I'm just saying I'm being real. When it's three or more people, and they say that too when the father's around. But anyway, yeah, you on point, Sister Divanya. Keep going.
No, yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, brother. But I'm not on point. The lesson that Menelik had, that they have going this the lesson is on point, and the Ezekiel. We're on chapter 3, verse 14 right now. That's on point, right? But I appreciate you chiming in and giving your point of view, right? So again, I'm gonna start over again. Where Ruach Neshad ni, and the Spirit lifted me up, where Tikachni, and took me, where Alek, and I went Mar Bakamat, and I went in bitter rage. I went in bitter rage. Ruaki, my spirit, where Yadi Yahweh, but the hand of Yah Ali upon me, Kazaka, was strong. In other words, he could not resist it. He resisted. He tried to resist. He was in rage and bitterness in his emotion. But it's like, yeah, I said, yo, I don't care how mad you are. You're already chosen. And I know that no matter how mad you are, hey, I don't want to go. I'm tired. I'm hungry. Blah, blah, blah. I haven't seen it. Blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it's
Right,
like, I know all of that about you, but I know your warm spirit. I know you love people, and I know you love your people. So that's why I choose you. I need you to go and
right,
do it. I know you're
right.
tired. I know you're hungry. I know you got kids at home. I know
And
you got a
I
wife home.
heard,
But right now,
I was
you
listening.
need.
I was at work, and I was listening to Brother Soul. I always listen to Brother Soul too. No, I'm not discriminating, Brother Doc. Everybody. It's only a fall. It's only Salaki. It's only a small sanctuary of us. It's small.
Okay.
It's very
Okay.
small.
Yes, scattered, and we're here, and you're right about that. But we don't want to single out anybody right now in this lesson. This is all about. But the thing is, the last sentence, and I'm gonna let Menelak continue from there. We're at Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 14, and the spirit be ruaki we yadiya wa ali kazaka, and the spirit, the hand of the
Kazaka.
spirit of Yah was upon me. Let's stay with that. And Menelek, please. Ezekiel, you keep going on. I love this. Please go on. Tipara. I'm waiting for Menelek to come back on when he speaks. But his name, Tifara. If those who don't know, Tifara is
He right there. He right there.
a
Just
word
just
for
keep going. Keep going.
beauty. It's a word that means beauty, elegance. When you're thinking about the crown upon the head, that's the word. That's what we call in English. They call it a adjective. An adjective is a word that describes something. So it's like a beautiful sky.
What's
Oh,
that
that's
word they be saying
amazing.
in the
So,
KJV? Salaki. That's that word they be like, Salah. That mean halt, stop.
yeah, okay. So, Tifara, Menelek,
Yes,
please,
yes, I'm
we
right here.
can,
Hey
yeah.
sis, I'm like just finishing up eating, but yeah, if you want to finish out the chapter, you're doing pretty real good at explaining it. But yeah, I also heard today that the word tifara is not in the scriptures. So I was like, well, okay then.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I need a.
I thought that mean
Is there a
love.
different Hebrew scroll that I don't know of?
Well, they're called the
Because
sons of Baal, and they don't believe in the Bible. But anyway, the tifara is the crown that all the Israelites received in Ezekiel 16. But we'll get there when we get there. So I guess tifara is not in there. So
Tafaro. Tafaro.
wow, wow. That yeah. Don't that those are people who doesn't know the language itself. Because if they look at the root word, and if they go to Ezekiel, I mean not Ezekiel. If they go to Exodus, they would see the Tiferer is mentioned in Exodus. So these are people who don't understand the language, and they have a doctrine, and they would just try to knock anything down that is taking you away from Yah and the word. But don't let that persuade you, because that word was there before the even Christianity came. So don't let nobody knock you about that. That's a Hebrew word that means what? Beauty. Tifara, your beauty, beauty. It is a Hebrew word that means beauty, elegance. That's what the crown. When we put the what? The nasara, the
Ooh.
crown upon our head. It's called what? The tifara. You the crown of. It's called the what? The crown of
Mm,
tifara,
mm,
the crown of Tifara, the crown of beauty,
mm,
the crown of elegance. So
mm.
anybody who tried to come and tell you that, brother, shut them down. Just shut them down with the word.
Just for that crown. And he had a thorny crown. That ain't even a word. I said thorny crown. He did have a thorny crown.
Listen,
We have the real crown.
well, this is what I'm
If
trying
we
to say.
dedicate it.
We don't play with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a bush, he's a thorn. The scripture tells us about thorns and briars, and the fact that their king, their prince, had a crown of thorns, it represents the same people who were supposed to be parent, because why they're gonna come against us with thorns and briars. So what
Mm.
you say about it, I'm not here to knock on them. There's enough things in the scriptures to
No.
knock them down, but I'm not here. Yah would bring our people back. I don't want to shun anybody. I don't want to beat anybody down who believe in that. I just don't when we're where we're at, bringing out the scriptures. I don't like to bring them. Right now we're
But Sister
into
Devanya,
Ezekiel. Like is
I love
job.
you. And I must say that. But
What? No, let me tell you something. If you didn't love me, you don't think I know where you live? man, yo, I come and yo, I'll make you. No, let me stop. I'm being stupid. Okay.
But for
Oh,
real though,
gangster
but for real
granny.
though, Sister Vanya,
Gangster granny and
you
stuff. I'm
must
just being stupid. I'm
you
sorry.
must speak, and I must speak. I don't like to talk much, but I do follow along what I feel like what's right. That's all.
And since I've known you, you've always done that. And I pray I bow to you, my brother Akoti, all praises. But they have men that have the lessons, the soul. They have the lesson tonight, and I just don't want to divert it. I already do a justice of not a justice, but an injustice of always straying them off and like, hey, can I? So I do that, and but I try as best to stick to the scriptures when I do that. So humbly speaking, I respect everything you're saying. I agree with a lot of what you brought out, but let's just try and keep this Ezekiel reading because they do have a time limit and chapters they want to get through, and I want to respect the host and the channel, the room, for doing that.
Well,
So
yes,
I
I
don't
will
I don't
say this
run this
one thing though.
channel.
I will say this
I
one
don't
thing,
run
right?
this channel. I'm just trying to because you address me. I just want to make sure I give control back
Well, I
to
will I
those.
will say this one thing though, right? So we're gonna read the entire book of Ezekiel, just like we read the entire book of Isaiah, read the entire book of Jeremiah, and now we're reading the entire book of Ezekiel, right? But we gonna slow walk this one. So my brothers at the Bible Disciples that kicked me out today, when they said the word Tiferet is not in the Bible, please pay attention to this
They
book,
read it
please.
again, Metalec.
Well, yes, of course. But yeah, Sister Dubanya, if you want to continue and like y'all
Yeah,
want to finish out the chapter, I'm like,
yeah, Melanie.
I'm
Don't
like I'm on the vegan diet, so I didn't eat nothing all day, so I'm about to pass out. If y'all want to,
No,
I'm about
don't
to
pass
eat and listen.
out. Yeah, don't. I don't want you to
No,
pass out. You
Metalec.
go
No.
get something, drink some milk. But hey, listen. I'm sorry. I'm not. This is not my room. This is not my channel. But what I will do, as long as the host them give me allow, and I don't. If idea is here, whoever channel, the host of the channel, soul. If I like peace and order, so I don't want to anybody think I'm taking over any channel, but I like to keep it with the host. What their theme is, what we're doing. I like to keep it there, right? So right now, let's can we continue with it on that subject where we're at verse 315 Ezekiel. If someone want to read, please go ahead and we can just keep breaking it down.
Yeah, Scattered, you got the stones tonight. You want to read for her and team up with her? She'll break it down or not.
Okay. I ain't got my sword with me, but I'm outside the house. I'm in the car. I'm in the car smoking. I know you don't need to know this, but I'm in the car smoking. I ain't got my sword, but I'll run in the house and do this.
Okay, okay.
Give
So
me, give me 1 minute.
no worries, Scatter. This is a great time for you to mute your mic and just listen. All right, just chill out, brother. Sometimes those are moments are bestowed upon us, right? So, okay, we have Ezekiel 3:15. It says, "Wayavo." Just gonna read. I'm translating from Hebrew to the best of my knowledge. So, please, guys, forgive me. Okay, so Wayavo, and it came unto. It said, okay, where Waabo. When it came to unto the captivity Tel Aviv in Tel Aviv. Now, here it is, very interesting. Ezekiel 3:15, you see the word in the captivity ha golah Tel Aviv. Everybody here should know about the what? The city in Israel where it's called what? Tel Aviv. Tel Aviv. The same name exists in Hebrew. It's still there till this day. There are cities that Yah preserved where they can't run from it, right? So here you have Tel Aviv, right? Tel Aviv Hashabim that dwelled, those that dwelled El Nahar, unto the river Kevar. That's where Ezekiel was, remember? Where Asher, where Aseb, where let me read it to her and translate. Where Asab Sham, Shevat, Yamim, Mashamim, Betokam. He's saying, and I sat there 7 days. He says Meshamim, basically Meshamim. We know Shamim is like Shamayim, right? Meshamayim. He's like basically saying, I sat there 7 days in the skies, like he's just looking. He's like in wonder. He's like in a lot of space land. Cause remember, he just kicked your royal princely seed. Oh no, your the priestly seed, and you just got taken from your elements. Everything is going. That's chaos. That's like taking from where you are, like what happened to us. We're taken from Africa. We're living, but in the west coast of Africa, we're doing everything is good, right? Just like in the time of Noah, everything is good, right? And then all of a sudden the flood came, but the flood wasn't water. The flood was a people, right? That's why the scripture used floods to describe armies of nations coming against you, right? So Mabul, which is the word for flood, coming against you. So Mabul came against us in West Florida, in West Africa, and here we are. So this whole thing, so it says Yamim Me Shamim. Now, what is the coincidence? They have the word Me Shamayim, and they tell you that means astonished, amazed. No, it says Yamim Me Shemayim, the Shamayim, in the days of the holy nation, the days of the named people, the days of the named people. The what? In the beginning, bara Elohim, what? Hashamayim. Hashamayim wehaaretz. We are the Shamayim. Shem, Ma'im. The named ones. We are Shemayim. We are the heavens. Yah saw us as the heaven and everybody else as the earth, right? So that word, so mind you, when you read it like this and it say Shebat Yamim Me Shamayim. It's like, yo, 7 days of the Shamayim. 7 days of what? Who Shamayim? Us. The named ones. Betokem amongst them. When you put the M at the end of it, Betok means in the middle, amongst, between, right? And you put the M at the end, now you're talking about them, a people. So it's like Betokem amongst them. So these things, understanding the language is very important because they're gonna always try to change. Oh, it's talking about a woman. Oh, it's talking about a man. Oh, it's talking about no. Let's understand what it's saying, and now we can say what it means. Where when it says the Son of Man or the Son of Man or the daughter, and He's the Savior and all that stuff. When it's like, does it say He or does it say she or does it say they? We would only know that once we get back and start reading it for ourselves and stop letting all the European nations with all their Mormon and pagan and Bibles, King James, all their different interpretations try to tell us. And then you have people who understanding it in the English version and coming to try and debate people who Yah is starting to bless with the understanding of the Hebraic scriptures and putting us in the mind frame of, hey, you got to be there to understand it. You got to be to understand it. And he puts us into that mind frame of being there with our ancestors and understanding it and feeling it. But then we have to go and argue with people who believe in the JC, and every time they go and argue, it's like you get into a debate with them. What do we get? Huh. The Septuagint says, I'm sorry, that is the difference between you who believe in the New Testament and myself that believe in Yah, the creator, the original testament, is what? When I have to go and look up what my ancestors are saying, I go to the Hebraic words. I go to the Hebrew words. When you have to go and describe your Christ, your Savior, you have to go and look it up in what? The Greek words. Come on. You don't need a psychologist to tell you what's going on here and who is following, who is of the children of Yah. Those who have to explain their beliefs with the Septuagint and Greek, with a Greek dictionary, or those who can just read the Tanakh and the Tanakh only
Mm,
and come to you from the Hebraic dictionary.
Barakatah.
Barak.
Barakatah, oh, sister.
All right, I guess I'll finish it out real quick just so we get Ezekiel 3. So I'm gonna just go to the Kabbalah and run through it real quick.
Wait, what?
Oh, I thought you didn't want to go. Where were we at?
Oh,
What
no,
verses
no,
you was
I'm here. I'm so sorry. It's like
on?
I
Okay,
was
yes,
trying
please,
to
please
shut
go
things
ahead. Yeah,
down without
because I'm
shutting it down.
hungry.
But we're done. But you said okay, so we're in verse 17 or 16? You say, please.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
No, please. I want you to read because this is your thing going on here, and I thought I was just chiming in. When I see little things, I would chime in,
All right, yeah,
but
yeah,
it
yeah.
went
I'll run through it real quick. So
and I thought. Sorry.
he said, "Son of man, I have made you a lookout for the house of Israel." Wish I'm Banadam. Hey, what's that word for lookout right there? Divine.
Zaharta,
Watchmen.
Zahar.
Yeah, it's like a watchman. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
What you talking
okay,
about?
so yeah,
Morning?
let's keep going.
Oh, you talking about Sapa? Sapa. The watchman
Yes.
is
Yep.
Sapa. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Sapa, not that. Yeah, it's like netatik, like ne. I have tatik. Tat is like the word for give. I place. I put. I set you. So netatik. I have set you. All right, I'll mute.
Yes. So it says, "Son of man, I have made you a lookout or a watchman over the house of Israel, and you shall hear a word from my mouth, and you shall give them warning from me." Right. Okay. So if I say to the wicked man, "You will die," and you do not exhort him, nor speak to the exhort a wicked man to repent of his wicked way, to save his life, he is guilty, and he will die because of his iniquity, and I shall require his blood from your hand. So this is why the Most High ain't making nobody watchmen over his stuff, because they're partial. Um, yeah, my brother, he doesn't believe in stuff in the Bible, and I'm not gonna tell him nothing. That's why the Most High ain't choose you. So this will say, uh, I will if I say to the wicked man, you will die, and you do not exhort him, nor speak to exhort the wicked man to repent of his wicked way, to save his life, he is guilty. He will die because of his iniquity, and I shall require his blood from your hand. So when you tell them about the crown of Tifereth that the entire nation of Israel has in Zechariah 12, verse 7, obviously not in the English. I don't got time to keep slow walking baby boys. So, and also in Ezekiel 16, the whole entire nation had the crown of Tiferet. They're going to have it when they go back. So when you hear a sucker talking about they don't care about that Tiferet stuff, they might be a goddamn Canaanite. But anyway, let's continue. But if you do warn the
I
wicked man
wanted to.
and he does not,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was sneezing while I pressed the button. Now I wanted to show to you what that word for deliver in chapter 319 when it says hasalat. That word for deliver. Remember, what's the base root in front of that? In the middle of that, Sal, right? That's the word for shadow, right? Bet Salmenu in the image. It's the word Salem, the root word for image, Salem. So Salem, excuse me, but has Salem ta. It's like when Yah is saying delivering your soul, and he's saying Hasalem Ta, he's also talking about your inner being, your shadow, the image and everything of you. It's your DNA, bro. So your nefesh is the spirit within you, but your salemat is all your DNA, what makes you look like who you are. What makes Davanya look like who she is? Her height, her length, her voice, her characteristics, her skin color, her nail, her toes, everything. That's Salamata. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in where how these Hebraic words just play with each other and intertwine with each other.
Could you say that word one more time, please?
The last word in Ezekiel chapter 3:19, where it say Hasal Hasal Hasal, excuse me. I have a Hasalta. Azalta,
Wow,
the
thank you
last
for that.
word 319. Hebrew strong words 5337.
Oh, okay, okay. Nice.
So the root word of that is sal, right? Which is the same word for shadow, which is the same root word for image. And when you think about it, your shadow, when you walk wherever you go, does your shadow, do you follow your shadow or does your shadow follow you? And your
Your
shadow
shadow follow you.
right. And your shadow only follow you according to the direction of where the what? The light is shining. So a shadow of you is like basically an image. You get a nice crisp shadow and you can put on the wall, somebody shadow, and you get a nice profile of you. So shadow, image, the same root word for shadow and image is that word sal. Betsalmenu, Kidmatenu, in your image, in your shadow, he made us.
Nice. That's a good explanation. So it says, but you, if you do warn the wicked man and he does not repent of his wickedness and of his evil way, he will die because of his iniquity, and you will save your soul. So this is why the Most High is not appointing the Jesuit camp Israelites as watchmen over Israel, because if it was up to them, we would all be dead. So let's continue. And when a righteous man repents of his righteousness and commits injustice, I shall place a stumbling block before him. He will die. So Camp Israelite random 2309999 serial numbers. Um, they don't understand that they're dead inside. They think because they're awake and doing whatever rappers do under the banner of an Israelite, they think that they're alive, but they're actually dead inside. Okay, so whenever you do these things, commit sins, you cut off your soul from your people, and the Most High cuts you off. All right, so let's continue.
Yep, yep,
And when a
Metalite.
righteous
Like,
man,
why you think they gotta take all them Salaki? Why you think they gotta take all them drugs and do all this? Why you can't just sit there?
because they need to feel good all the time. Let's continue. So, but we as Yahudi, we take the good with the bad and give Yah praise in the good times and the bad, and give thanks for life. That's correct, brother. So when it says, when a righteous man repents of his righteousness and commits injustice, I shall place a stumbling block before him. He will die. If you do not warn him, he will die because of his sin, and his righteous deeds that he performed will not be remembered. But I shall require his blood from your hand. But you, if you warn him, the righteous man, that a righteous man should not sin, and he does not sin, he will live because he took heed, and you will have saved your soul. This is why the Most High does not appoint the Jesuit camps as watchmen over Yah's people, because we would all be dead. The hand of Yah came upon me there, and he said to me, arise and go out to the plain, and there I shall speak with you. So I arose and went out to the plain, and behold, the glory of Yah was standing. Hold on, let me see. That's kabod. Okay. So I arose and went out to the plain, and behold, the glory of Yah was standing, like the glory that I saw by the river Kabar, and I fell upon my face. So this time he already knows what the deal is. Ezekiel chapter 1, Ezekiel chapter 2 was him like, it was the Most High making it very clear and bright for him to pay attention to inquire, what is this? Look into it. And he was also looking into it, inquiring, right? So at this time, he already knows what time it is. He already knows what time it is when he sees that glory coming. And the Rawak entered into me and stood me up on my feet, and he spoke with me. And he said to me, come confine yourself within your house.
Sorry. Okay.
So yeah, come confine yourself within your house. And son of man, behold, they have placed ropes upon you and have bound you with them, and you shall not go out among them. And I shall cause your tongue to cling to your palate, and you shall become dumb, and you shall not be a reprover to them, for the house of rebellion are they. And when
Can
he
we
says
stop there,
dumb, and
please?
yeah,
Okay.
go
No,
ahead, please go
glad
into
you.
that.
I'm glad you stopped. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, that when he's saying dumb right there, it's not like actually saying like he's a dumb person. It means he's going to be able to unable to speak.
Does that not remind us of not saying Abraham went through that same thing? But what was Abraham thinking? No, please don't send me. I don't know how to talk. Blah blah blah. I love these people. I don't know. I don't know that language. Blah blah blah. But in Ezekiel case, it's hey, same kind of incident, different route where it take. And Ezekiel, Yah is literally telling him, yo, we have to remember Ezekiel is a priest. Ezekiel is a priest. He ain't shave his beard. He's never eaten foul food. We learned that as we go along, if any of us know the story. Ezekiel here, he ain't bald headed. He ain't got no fade and all that stuff. He don't have no Shaka Amos ponytail going on, Egyptian pony. He is not. He is a righteous priest, but he is going through the judgment of Judah and Israel, northern and southern kingdom. He got caught up in it, just like Daniel and Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, Jeremiah, and we can name some more. That they did their best, but hey, yeah, when y'all said, hey, the nation is going on, but once you go into that slavery and wherever you are, you have a choice. Hey, I'm gonna do when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Or when you're in Rome, you're gonna be like, nah, hell no. I'm gonna try to keep these laws. I'm gonna, yeah, Father, I ain't eating that meat. Yo, Pharaoh, I don't want your meat, yo. Can I get some a bean soup? Can I get a bean pie? Is there a Muslim around where I can buy a bean pie? That would be your idea. It's like, yo, I don't want to eat. Yo, Pharaoh got a big feast, and he invited Daniel and all that stuff. And the captain of the guards came to Daniel. Yo, Pharaoh, the Nebuchadnezzar just casted a big feast and all that. Can you imagine a big feast casted by the king? And Daniel said, no, thank you. Can you bring me a bowl of soup? That was Daniel. Daniel, nah, grains. I ain't eating no whatever how they prepare their meat. He don't know if they kill that meat. Well, Daniel refused. He's like, no, thank you. Being in meat, he's like, no, but you
Yeah.
know, right? We
Hey,
all
real
know
quick, could I bring this out
story,
as well?
right? Go
Could I
ahead.
bring this out as well? So just help me out. I need your help in this. So when the Most High chose Ezekiel and Daniel to do these great things and to prophesy to his people, Isaac here as well. Isaac is here as well. So shalom, brother. I'm gonna repeat it, right? So when the Most High chose Yirmiyah, Yehezkel, and he chose Daniel to do all of these great things for his people and to accomplish these things, did he do it for them to also rebel against him and not keep the Torah while he was using them?
Au contraire, he did it according to scripture because he already knew their heart and their spirit, and that's why he chose them.
Right. So they were serving the Most High wholeheartedly and keeping the Torah fully, which is what the Torah is trying to tell them, right? But people want to see Gucci Mane and the Migos with the ephod that don't know what nothing in the temple means to stand and serve Yah. Okay, you can go right back in captivity. Now, this is what I'm trying to say. This is dead serious stuff. This stuff is dead serious. So when we see that, right, was is when Danielle was keeping the dietary law and refusing to eat that stuff, is the dietary law and the Ten Commandments that Deuteronomy?
No commandments of that whatsoever. As a matter
Right,
of fact, we had laws. That's why we got the whole animal laws and all that in Exodus way before Daniel. But that was for those who, if you're gonna eat meat, these are the meats you should eat, and this is how you could kill it, drain the blood, and all that. But we were never commanded to eat meat,
right.
contrary to popular belief.
So, Brother Scattered, you want to help me out with this one, Brother Doctor, Brother Soul? Help me out with this one right here. So, in captivity, right, and you eat a piece of meat, Leviticus 17, verse 1 and 2, okay? If any man or woman slaughters an animal to eat inside or outside of the camp, right? So, inside or outside of the camp, and they do not bring it to the entrance of the tent of meeting, to the Kohen, for him to basically remove the soul of the animal, because the blood is the soul in verse 10 and 11, 12, 13. They're in violation. So, hey, Brother Soul, Brother Scatter, Brother Doctor, Brother Scatter.
Uh,
So,
I would say
so when, hold on, real quick. So when brothers, right, they gonna go and they're gonna eat a piece of meat. That animal was killed, whether it's inside or outside the camp, and they did not bring it to the Kohen, right? It says that their soul will be cut off. So, brother, do we need a Kohen to eat meat?
no. I would say it was just prayer.
Right, right. So, do we need a sacrifice on the Sabbath?
No prayer.
Right. Thank you, brother Doctor, brother Soul.
Fasting, Salaki fasting, and all those things. Deep prayer, like you really mean it.
Right, right. Offering your inward parts to the Most High. That's the whole reason they slaughtered it. They didn't just kill the animal and then just burn it up. No, they butchered it. They took out the inward parts and took some of it and offered it to the Most High, and some of it was not acceptable. It was teaching them how to do that within themselves. So this is what I was trying to explain to them brothers earlier. They don't care about that. They're gonna get stoned in the wilderness if you don't go warn them.
We also have to remind that the scripture tells you. First of all, it says only one third of the people actually listened and they obeyed and went and made the pilgrimage, the three pilgrimage out of the seven, and kept those laws. 2/3 of our people, they were into the whole, like we a lot of theater, hip hop videos, wilding out. They're into their own worlds, right? But there are selected people scattered throughout where hey, listen, they have given up all that. They hey, listen, yeah, what is this saying? This thing gotta make sense because this world gotta make sense. And then there are people like that, right? So when we get down to them, what you were just asking is brother Soul, what's going on there with that whole thing with consuming, with the astonished, with the bread, the water? What's going on there? What really is
Right,
there? Because the scripture speaks about it, but we just have to understand it, right?
right.
Yeah, brother.
But this is why the Most High doesn't choose everybody to be a watchman over His people. Because if it was up to these partial Negroes, we would all be dead. Okay? Because obviously, right, the whole, like when we read something, right, not to a people with a speech that they don't understand will I send you to. They have familiar language, right? So when they read a wicked man when a wicked man repents of his wickedness and does like the righteous man, his soul will be saved, he will live. When a righteous man repents of his righteousness and does like the wicked man, he will die. The Most High said he should die. So when you ask these Torah keepers, right, so-called Israelites, hey, where do we get, where do we learn what is good and bad from? Oh, the Torah. So without the Torah, can you say Baptist Pastor Betty is a good person if she doesn't even care for the Torah? No, that's you being partial. Your ass might be a Hamite. I'm telling you now. Your brain can't grasp what I'm saying. Might be a Hamite or a Canaanite or a Girgashite or a Jebusite or an Amorite,
Man, like,
anything but an Israelite.
it just crossed my mind, like, what if somebody not on the same level as you, you know?
Well,
And
it's not about that. It's like simple things, brother. It's simple
you should
things
be,
that I present. It's simple
I
things.
know,
Like
I
this right
know.
here. Watch this. Watch this. Build with me on it. Build with me on it. Watch this. So it's just like simple questions. Watch this, right? Where do we find out what is right and wrong?
In the beginning.
In the Torah. So if somebody doesn't, like a Christian pastor, Steve, who doesn't believe in keeping the Torah at all, is he
And they
good
might,
or is he bad?
no, he's not bad. He might see something that he don't see like us. You know, that's what
So
I was trying
he's
to
not
say.
an Israelite.
I don't want to say, I really don't want to say that though, because I was at that point too. But anyway, they might not be at the same level that we are on. They might not be that way.
So so Christian pastor Scott or Steve, who they teach against the Torah and won't even try to keep the Torah or inquire how to keep the Torah, in fact, send lyrical stones at the one trying to show it to them. Are they good or are they bad?
So they sent.
Okay, put it this way. Put it this way. Put it this way. There's 2.2 billion Christians on the earth. So let's use the regular law of the earth instead, right? 2.2 billion Christians on the earth. Let's say instead of giving up the Torah, they gave up following all the laws of the land. What type of stuff they gonna be doing?
Well, I would say this, Menelec. Most of us, like over here on the Midwest, we was Christian. We was brought up Christian. Chicago, you Christian. Indiana, Detroit, you Christian. Whatever, you Christian. We most of us was brought up Christian, and there's only a few of us that's been in the truth. You know, that's really been doing it. A lot of us been on that Jose Cuervo, John Cena. No, let's get to the real. The only one. There's no one beside him. He's a
But
jealous
what
God.
is the truth, brother? What is the
Huh?
truth? Is the truth not the Torah? Is the truth not the Torah?
Of course.
All right, I'm gonna just continue. And I shall cause your tongue to cling to your palate, and you shall become dumb. Well, basically, he's gonna make him where he can't speak, and you shall not be a reprover to them, for a house of rebellion are they. And when I speak with you, I shall open your mouth, and you shall say to them, so says Yahweh Elohim. It's actually Amar Adonai Yahweh. He who listens will listen, and he who forbears will forbear, for a house of rebellion are they. So when we ask them, right, simple questions. I don't be asking them no advanced shit at all. I don't be doing that. I ask them some simple shit. Joshua 1 and 8. And if there's like some remedial lights in the house that don't know what Joshua 1 and 8 says, I said it like 10 times in this recording. I'm not repeating it. And I will never repeat it again. Joshua 1 and 8. You know what it tells you to do. When they read that, I'll be like, brother, do you get it? Where does it say to read the New Testament? They're like, yeah, but their ass ain't an Israelite. Or and if they are, they're going to be the firewood in the wilderness. Because it's very clear cut shit that I be asking people. Psalms 1, verse 1 through 3 say the same thing. Meditate upon the Torah night and day. Where does it say read the New Testament right there? Meditate upon Christ. Where? The Satan only Israelites that hate the Torah, can't teach the Torah, do not want to teach the Torah and fulfill the commands which they teach it to your children. They're teaching them Christ, teaching them what are they going to do? Teach them how to fight against Christ? The kid's going to be like, what's this book actually about? Is it a book to fight Christ, or what's this book actually about? Meditate upon the Torah night and day. I'll be like, sir, where does it say to obsess about Christ all day? Oh, well, brother, we got to fight against the fault. Where does it say for you to do any of that? Except for you to keep the Torah, and that's it. So they're going to come up with a million different things. Imagine if you were the CEO of a huge corporation and you tell somebody, hey, I need you to meditate upon this one piece of paper all day long. And every time you come check on them, they're doing some other shit. Well, Yahweh's going to fire their ass. Well, good thing he ain't never hired them in the first place, right? Because Yahweh ain't no fool and don't make no mistakes. Yo, this stuff is serious business, man. Serious business. But yeah, all praise to the Most High. Rakata Adonai Hamelech Olam for the reading of Sefer Yehezkel. We spent like maybe I don't know, how long has it been? So we spent several hours on this. Just these three chapters here. Just these three chapters here, we spent several hours. So this whole entire book here is very, very deep. Especially when we get into the temple portion, there's a diagram at the top that we'll use to explain it as we go along. And then I bought two other books in my picture for us to use the diagrams. And there's probably a little bit over 300 diagrams of everything inside the temple and the temple itself, and all the temple diagrams will show the difference to them. So this is what I'm gonna say, man. Yo, I don't be doing this shit to build a following. I do this because y'all the Israelites.
Hey, my bad, y'all. I'm over here falling asleep and shit.
Word. How long has it been? So how much time we spent on this one?
We started like 8:30 or something. In about 3 hours.
God. So let me see what we got for tomorrow, real quick for you. Go to sleep. So chapter 4. Let's see what's in here. Yep. It's like the same thing. 4. Hold on. We might only be able to do like another couple chapters tomorrow. Yep. Take yourself a sharp sword, a cobbler's razor, pass it over your head, your beard. Yep. Chapter 6. Let's see. Chapter 6. We'll be able to do 6 as well. Yeah, we'll probably just be able to do like 3 more chapters again tomorrow. It's gonna take hours again. But yeah, man. All the Israelites that's on here
I
in
won't
these
come
weird
on. I
Christian
won't come
rooms.
on. I won't come on. It might speed up. I know I do a lot of
It's not
interacting,
your
so
fault. It's not your
I
fault.
won't stay on.
You helped us. You helped us. It's not your fault. Before you came in, I spent maybe a whole 2 hours on just like the first 2 chapters almost. But like, yeah, um, I I want your help. It's a team effort. You know what I'm saying? Earlier we had Hakika and Sister Hazel in here, and we were all expounding upon it. That's how it's supposed to be. So I always appreciate you when you come through. But yeah, like this book of Ezekiel right here is actually very, very, very complex, and especially when we get to the part dealing with prophecy, um, and it's not something for somebody to just skim over and like build a doctrine around. It's not. It's really not. In fact, it's so complex because Ezekiel is one of the few men in that book that he actually told to go and teach people stuff. Ezekiel 43 and 7 and Ezekiel 43 and 10. If you're not teaching that, you're really not teaching anything.
So,
This is what, yeah.
so, Brother Menelik, are you saying that Ezekiel, who all throughout the scripture, only two times in the entire book of Ezekiel, his name is mentioned. Yah called him son of man, son of man, son of Adam, Ben Adam, Ben Adam. That's what he's called throughout the entire book of Ezekiel. Are you trying to tell me that he's not Ben Adam, that there's somebody else that's son of man? Like, how did this title get stripped away from Ezekiel? That's like taking the title of Moshe, who came off the mountain, stripping it away from him and giving it to somebody else. Ezekiel is the only we know. David was called the son of man. Also, in the children of Israel called son of Yah. But we're talking about as far as son of man. That phrase is only mentioned two times not two times in entire scripture, but applied to only two specific identities in the scripture
Yeah,
to
they took it away
doubt.
from us and they gave it to Jesus.
Right. And David is the only singular person who was called, other than Ezekiel, who was called Son of Man, Son of Man, Son of Man, right? So the Son of Man, if Ezekiel, that entire scripture is talking about Son of Man, he was called that. Yah called him like that for a specific reason, for a specific reason. How is it that his title get taken away and give it to somebody in the New Testament, and that New Testament gets the thing Son of Man? But it's like they give him that title, Son of Man, Ezekiel's title, but then at the same time they're telling us no, he's the Son of Yah. Which one is it? Hot or cold? Yah says, I can't deal with you. You better choose. I don't deal with lukewarm, nothing. Hot or cold. So is he Son of Man or is he Son of Yah? Can't have it both ways. Though we are all, but you understand what I'm saying? A title is a title. A title is a title. Sure, we are all children of Yah, but we got titles: priest, high priest, king, princes of the kings, daughters of the king. There are titles involved. So when did this son of Mabish become a son of Adam? And
It's like as well, like there's like several different layers to it, as you may know. Like sometimes when I relay it, like how we did today, where like he offered Ezekiel the same choice that he gave to Adam and to the Israelites in the wilderness, the choice of life and death. And he called Ezekiel son of man. It was like he was like kind of mocking him a little bit to like to be something, to be what
come,
he was meant to be. Yep, it's easy. He was mocking him a little bit. He's like, hey, so for example, right? I'll give the example again. So if your forefather Adam had this choice, eat of this and not of that, right? And then he gives the same thing to the Israelites in the wilderness: eat of this and not of that. Today I get, and he told him, he explained it to him a little bit more. Today I place before you life and death. Which one are you gonna choose, right? Eat of this and not of that. So he did the same thing with Ezekiel, but he called Ezekiel so he could kind of wake up. Hey, son of Adam, so he could think in his mind like calling it. Are you gonna do this or are you gonna do that? He was like mocking him for him to elevate himself. That's why when he got taken
come.
up, he had like a scorn on him a little bit. He's like, man, like what have I been doing?
Actually, I'm
Yes,
looking
God.
into it. It actually, JC wasn't even called son of Adam. He's called, um, if you look in the Greek, it's the word is, where's it at? It's anthro. Hold up, anthro something. Where the hell is it? Anthropos. So he's not even called son of Adam. He's a son of
Yeah,
Anthropos.
that's like
Just
a anthropolophodopodus. That's some kind
yeah.
of, dinosaurus kind of creature and stuff. It's like we don't have that in the Hebrew scripture. We deal with people, human, not animalistic creatures. I'm sorry, brother.
Yes, he was uplifting Ezekiel by mocking him with that sometimes to uplift him to be like a malach. First, he showed him the malach and or like the chayot, cherubim in Ezekiel 1 and 2, and he went through the same thing to become like them. Really, to be real.
Yeah. So they
Yeah,
tried that title. They tried to give him that title of Ezekiel to try to make the look like he was talking about him, but they clearly didn't know how to translate it right.
God. And we talk about what was it? What was that word? Can you read? Can you read? Excuse me, I have hiccups right now. I think I'm still growing. Who to think about it? Approaching 60s, and I'm still having hiccups. But can you read Ezekiel 4:17 again, please?
Yeah, let me go back. Who you want, 317 or 417?
Ezekiel 4:17. 4:17.
All right. So it says, hold on, let me pull it up. Oh, I'm on my phone right now. So here it is. 417. Uh, Lema'an, Lema'an Yaksheru, Lechem Vamayim, Venashamo, Ish, Veakiv, Venamachu, Ve'avonam, Bet. And it's like, because that they may want bread and water and be astonished one with another and consume away for their iniquity.
Mm, okay. So for me, when I'm reading it, excuse me, I'm getting hiccups right now. Please forgive me. So Lamayan is basically at the end, it's like when all is said and done, that's what Lamaan, right? So when all is said and done, Yekeseru, right? They, it's talking about what they, what would decree, what they have is like it would subside, it will decrease. So that word kasar, the oh my hiccups, so sorry, please forgive me. So that word kasar with the yekaresu, right? At the end, u is talking about the do. You're talking about multiple people. So it's like a group of people it's talking about. So it's like at the end, when all is said and done, they are going to what? Decrease, stop, slow down. Lekem. Lekem, the word, that's the word for bread, right? Coincidentally, it's also the word, the root word for war, battle. So when you're reading war in the Hebrew scriptures, it's lekem. And when you think about it, what we're about to experience all around this entire planet, what we're about to experience, hunger. When all stores and everything is shut down, what would man do? They're fighting what? For bread. So that word for bread, that fighting of the bread, the lekam is what? For heat. Heat. Kem, that word itself, if you just break it down into two words, lekem for bread, is also the exact same word for what? War. Because you think about When stuff gets scarce and man and hunger come in and people gotta survive, guess what they're gonna do? Lekem for lekem. They're gonna war over bread. That's the play, another play on the word. Milkama. Milkama. That's the Hebrew word. War. The same word for bread is the same base root for war. And when man gets hungry and what man is trying to survive and all that, they will kill you for that last piece of bread you got in there. That's why in Hebrew it's associated the same Hebrew word for war. Milkama, lekem, lekem, war, war, bread, survival, bread, survival. Yeah, because man's instinct, nature's instinct, any animal is the instinct to survive. And yes, man will kill, go and rob, steal, and kill their neighbor next door for their flour and their sugar. What? Because they want to survive.
Yes, let me add something to that. So if it becomes like that again, right, where there's no food to eat or no bread, what would be the goyim's reason to live without that physical bread? They have no reason. What is your life? It's the Torah.
1000%, brother. Keep speaking it.
Yeah, so they will fight and kill over bread. But if there is no bread, they have no reason to lie. They would say, "What is my point to even live? If there was nothing but bread left on the earth to eat, and then there was no bread, and they're fighting and killing over bread, and there's no bread for them. However many days they're starving, they would say, "What is the point for my life?" They would beg God to kill them.
The two
They would
thirds,
eat each other.
Menelek, the 2/3 and everybody else's would. But the righteous, the 1/3, Yah would have already been training us where we can go what? We can listen. Moses went up for 40 days. He came down on the mountain when he saw the whole thing. Him and Joshua came down off the mountain. People don't realize Joshua was up on the mountain too. Scripture says Joshua went up there in the mountain too. Always a protege. He went down, came down. That's why he wasn't around. He wasn't around Aaron when Aaron made that golden calf. Joshua was not there. He was with Moses. The scripture tells you that, right? We just discovered that a month ago. So you have Joshua coming up. So that whole thing of war, of warship, that whole thing is there. But how to understand and teach it? We have to be like, what is the? I know you know water and bread have other significant meaning, right? Spiritual meaning to it and all that. But sometimes we have to bring this thing for. I'm sorry, I have the hiccups. We have to bring this thing forward. So sometimes we have new people just coming in and they just want to understand. And when we go too far, like I said, sometimes if people are trying to teach, whether it's temple man or me myself, I have to curb myself. Like, no, you can't go teach this because you haven't taught that and all that. So sometimes we have to be very careful and be diligent, as if we call ourselves teachers of the word. We can't just douse the people who we know are listening with things, and when they don't understand, we can't call them idiots, because this thing we're still all of us are still learning. So I just want to put that out there to you, that sometimes what we're teaching, we have to learn to control ourselves, not give it. We have to give them in doses, like an IV drop. Just like when I hear from other people, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, it's like, I'm glad I didn't listen to this brother. Sometimes I'm glad I didn't listen to this sister in a whole setting, because it would have been overwhelming to me. But the beauty is, I get to go back and listen to the recording of that show of that brother or that sister, and it's like, okay, relax. Okay, stop the tape. Let me go do research. Blah blah blah. Stop the tape. And because I'm like that, I can't let no one is gonna change my who I believe, what I believe in, and all that. But I like to check facts, whether it's scientific or spiritualistic. I like to check facts. So that's one thing I want to just highlight to you in that sense. Let's be careful because some people they're just not ready for this lesson because they just probably just got into the truth, and a lot of what you're teaching, a lot of what we're saying, they're not ready for it. Not that other people are not ready for it, but there are some new people who are not ready for that yet. So
Well, yeah, that's why I do like certain things that I do, like where I'll be like, well, they don't get it, it's not for them. But that actually it makes them want to engage more. See what I'm saying? There's like a method to the madness. When I'll be like, oh, so you don't believe in the Torah? That makes them like, no, I do. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, brother Saul, I'm gonna crank up a new room just to keep this for the sake of the room. I'll praise the Most High for the beautiful reading of Ezekiel. We'll continue tomorrow. I'm gonna make a new room real quick right now.
All right, so I'm gonna knock
peace
out.
and blessings. Shalom, everybody.
All right, praise the Most High. Y'all have a good night.